elected president, he would establish a commission on radical Islam. He also took a jab at President Obama.
Anyone who cannot name our enemy is not fit to lead our country.
From Youngstown, Ohio, Trump pledging to work closely with NATO to defeat ISIS.
Very tough stuff. A lot of criticism of Hillary Clinton to be expected under these circumstances. And this speech comes at a time for Trump where he really needed to have a good day. The last several weeks since the Republican convention have been particularly tough.
Fox's Carl Cameron. Clinton launching her own attacks.
Sometimes he says he won't tell anyone what he'll do because he wants to keep his plan, quote, secret. And then it turns out the secret is he has no plan.
From Scranton, Pennsylvania, Clinton saying that much of what Donald Trump says isn't true. No one knows what the night will bring in Milwaukee, Wisconsin after another round of violence. Fox's Jeff Manasso is live outside a torched gas station.
Pam, more shots fired, rocks thrown, injured officers, and at least one business damaged for a second night here on Milwaukee's northwest side. So some changes tonight as officials shut down a park and enforce a 10 p.m. curfew.
This is not the place where you go to gawk.
That's Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett. The violence and destruction in the wake of the shooting of Seville Smith, who police say was killed by a black officer Saturday when Smith pulled out a stolen handgun. The incident was caught on body cam and footage that is yet to be released pending the ongoing investigation. Pam?
Thanks, Jeff. Another record-setting day on Wall Street. At the close, the Dow up 59 points to 18,635. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
For me, it was the big S-Class from the 90s. Beautiful. My friend's dad had one.
The SL. All of the SLs. I've been watching those since I was a kid.
I think the 1971 SC was the first Mercedes that just blew me away.
Everyone remembers the first time they saw one and the day they began to long for a Mercedes-Benz of their own. Well, that day may be a lot closer than you think. With a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz, you can experience the luxury and safety Mercedes-Benz is famous for at a price you can afford. Beautiful SUVs, sedans, coupes, and convertibles that are factory certified and covered by an unlimited mileage warranty for up to 3 years, so you can drive without a worry for as far as you like. And during the certified pre-owned sales event, now through August 31st, you can receive 2 years of complimentary prepaid maintenance and 0.99% APR financing on select models, available through Mercedes-Benz Financial Services. You've waited long enough.
See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for complete details and limitations on certified pre-owned warranties. APR offer available only to qualified customers. Call 1-800-FOR-MERCEDES for details about costs and terms.
Instead of being at home, thousands of people in southern Louisiana are hunkering down in shelters. Although the wet weather has passed, rivers and creeks in many spots are well above flood stage.
Neighborhoods remain underwater. Homes are swamped. Residents tell us they received so much rain so quickly they had no time to get out of their homes. That led to more than 20,000 water rescues by military vehicles, helicopters, and boats. Those rescues are still taking place in Baton Rouge and to the south.
Fox's Will Carr in Baton Rouge. The flooding is being blamed for at least 6 deaths. One official says many homeowners don't have flood insurance. A wildfire that's consumed more than 100 homes in Northern California had appeared calm yesterday.
The winds came up. We had a very good looking containment as far as the fire at that time, but the winds literally grabbed the fire and basically dispersed it throughout the community, making it difficult for us to fight.
Doug Pittman with CAL FIRE. Some 4,000 people have fled the lower lake area as winds continue to whip the flames. Another legal loss for a famous comedian.
Bill Cosby loses another battle heading into his criminal case involving Andrea Constand. A federal appeals court rejected the comedian's effort to reseal his deposition testimony about extramarital affairs, prescription sedatives, and payments to women, stating that the contents of the documents are a matter of public knowledge and they cannot pretend that they could change that fact by ordering them resealed. Cosby gave the testimony in 2005 as part of a lawsuit brought against him by Constand, who said he drugged and molested her at his home. She later settled for an undisclosed sum, and sensitive documents remained sealed. Michelle Polino, Fox News.
American gymnast Simone Biles was unexpectedly upstaged at the Summer Games in Rio. A Dutch gymnast got the gold in the balance beam competition. Cam Puso, Fox News Radio.
Time for the Chief Bauer weather forecast. Trust the AC experts at Chief Bauer Service Experts to help keep you cool all summer long. Call 866-EXPERTS or visit chiefbauer.com
today. Who's this?
The mystery voice.
I'll introduce you in a minute. I bet everybody already figures it out.
Well, some people might know. We've got rain, Lon. Lots of rain in the forecast. That's the bottom line. Today's high 73. Tomorrow up to 80 with a chance of more rain. Sunshine Wednesday and a high of 85 degrees.
All right. Any idea what it is now? Right now it is...
Right now it is 75, Lon.
Look at you, the professional. It is the Tay and J Show, ESPN Radio 93.5. Lonte, not with Jeremy Warner.
No.
Not with Mike Carpenter.
No.
Jeremy taking another day off for his baby. I got to see him yesterday, got to talk to him, give him a big hug for the baby. Mike Carpenter on a family vacation. So we have turned the mic over to Brian Moline. And everybody knows Brian in Champaign-Urbana and the surrounding area. Thanks for joining me, man.
Yeah, my pleasure.
This is going to be fun. You're going to join me today, and we're going to talk a lot of Illinois sports, of course, even some baseball. I know you and I can get along today because the Cardinals and Cubs split.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody's got something to be happy about, something to be sad about. So,
well, I think you're a little bit happier, no doubt, with the Cubbies, but we'll get to that in a minute. For some of our listeners, in case they haven't heard you before, which, of course, you were on WDWS for a long time. Mm-hmm. Now you're the morning host at WILL. Explain a little bit about that job.
Well, sure. Basically, there's a national news magazine that NPR has called Morning Edition, and every station throughout the country has their own local host that does newscasts, weather forecasts, all that kind of stuff in and around the NPR programming, and that's what I do every morning from 6 until 9.
When I was at SIU Carbondale, my first gig was at WIDB, which was a student-run station that literally, if you were outside of the student center, you couldn't get it. So you had to be walking through the student center to even hear me. I remember my parents one time, my brother was there with my mom and dad. They were so excited because I was getting ready to go on and do a sportscast. They went out to the truck right in the parking lot, couldn't get the station. So they had to walk back into the student center just to hear it. Well, my second gig was at WSIU-FM.
Yeah.
And, of course, they had the same deal. They had so I would do updates in the morning for sports on NPR and all of that. And that was just so, and you can imagine a guy like me that was so hyper and everything, and the NPR is so nice and soft and mellow, and then it's like, here's sports with Lonte. The car, it's like, whoa! So I don't think many people that listen to that, I don't think they really liked me.
Yeah, a little, you woke them up, Lon, if it was in the morning. You were like the alarm clock for those guys.
I figured, what the heck, let's get it rolling. Well, you're doing a great job. Is the station strong? I mean, I know the public television, that's something that I know I donate to, and radio as well. I think they do so many great things, and it gets a lot of people like me off on the right foot too, with regards to that. That's not what it's necessarily there for, but
sure,
you guys do a great job with everything.
Well, thanks, Lon. It's one thing we've got coming up on WIL TV here that I think our listeners here might be interested in. We've got a night of some Illini football documentaries coming up.
Sweet.
That's coming up on August 28th.
Okay.
We'll have a Red Grange documentary as part of that, and I think people will enjoy that. So
that is cool.
Yeah, Sunday night, August 28th. That's just less than 2 weeks away.
Okay, that's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. You'll have to remind our listeners, maybe tweet it out when that day comes
sure,
along,
absolutely.
And we'll talk about it that day to get everybody prepared for that. Well, let's talk Cardinals-Cubs. Today, let me get a rundown real quick. Craig Choate, WCIA3 Sports. I ran into him yesterday at Media Day, Illini Football Media Day. He's going to come in about 4 o'clock and join us to talk Illinois football, Illinois basketball, maybe some high school football as we get ready for that. All the kids are out practicing now. And then Jeremy Warner, of course, of the Tay and J Show and IlliniInquirer.com is going to join us at 5:25. Some big Illinois football recruiting news. Also the Jordan Goodwin news with Illinois basketball. Not good. Trent Frazier takes his visit this coming weekend, so he's going to join us about 5:25. But I thought you and I could start out with a little Cubs-Cardinals. Everybody asks us to get a Cubs host in here because Jeremy's a White Sox fan.
Yeah.
Carp is a Yankees fan, and I'm, of course, a Cardinal fan. We don't have a Cubs fan. You're it.
I'm it.
You're it.
I will happily represent the first place Chicago Cubs.
Absolutely, you will, and you should be happy with that. This team, you knew after last year, Jeremy and I felt like they were a year ahead of schedule last year. Mm-hmm. What they did last year, you knew they were this good, though, as good as they've been this year. Have they even surprised you this year?
I think the start they got off to was just incredible. I think they got up to something like a 25-6 start, and you knew they couldn't play to that level all season. They were just playing over their heads. I think the thing that's been the most pleasant surprise to me is I think everybody thought this team had loads of talent on offense, and they do. I don't think anybody thought the starting pitching from 1 through 5 would be as good as it's been. Lackey, who pitched last night, he's got the highest ERA of the group. It's like 3.4.
Unbelievable.
Everyone else is under 3.
Unbelievable.
And they haven't had any injuries in the rotation either.
No, they haven't. Yeah. I don't even know if this is Woods. So
well, there's maybe some
here,
in there.
and I'm not going to knock on it for you.
Yeah, I don't blame you. But that, of course, you never know when injuries are going to pop up. And Lackey did leave the game early last night. I haven't heard an update definitively on that. It was a little shoulder tightness. He kind of laughed it off after the game last night. He was not worried about it when they talked to him. But that's Lackey. But as far as the Cubs starting rotation goes, it's been out of sight. And we'll see if they can keep that up. I think the one concern that's kind of popped up here and there, and they tried to address it at the trade deadline with Aroldis Chapman, is the bullpen.
Sure.
And you saw that the last 2 nights with Rondon's been out. He was out for about 10 days with just some tightness in his tricep. They didn't put him on the DL. He pitched for the first time last night and got lit up pretty good.
He did.
Just was leaving everything up in the zone. And then Pedro Strup's out for a few weeks. Knee injury. He'll be back hopefully mid-September-ish. They could certainly use him in that 7th, 8th inning. And the guy who really had stepped up before Saturday, he just had a really rough outing, was C.J. Edwards, young guy coming up for the first time. He'd been lights out and then just had no command on Saturday.
He didn't.
So if the Cubs can kind of get that 7th, 8th inning figured out, I really don't see many holes in this team right now.
I agree. And I was going to ask you another question because I was going to talk about the surprise. The back end of that starting rotation has been unbelievable, and I want you to talk on that in a minute. But I got lit up last night on Twitter. Now, I was doing a little trolling, just a little.
Little bit.
And I said, since Joe Maddon's the best manager ever, I assumed he would have used Aroldis Chapman in the 8th inning. And I had a couple of guys say, oh, come on, they're not going to use him for 2 innings. Well, I agree. I wouldn't use Chapman for 2 either. I'd use him for 1 inning. But why are we as a society, a sports baseball society, so ingrained in only using a closer in the 9th inning when the 8th inning could be just as important? And yesterday, with the little bit of a jam, why not? I know Piscotty's right-handed, and that's not ideal for Chapman, but when you're Chapman and you've gone like 42 straight games against NL Central foes without giving up a run, why wouldn't you trot him out there in the 8th? What do you think of that? Or would you have waited until the 9th?
Well, I would not have had a problem if Joe wanted to bring him in. I think what Joe's thought process went kind of like this. Hector Rondon hasn't pitched for 12 days or so. And basically, it was a fairly high-pressure situation as far as a game itself goes, but you've got a team with a 13-game lead.
Fair enough.
And let's see what Hector has. Let him work through some stuff. The only way that he's going to get sharp is to work in some game situations. Obviously, it didn't go well. He gave up the 3-run homer to Piscotty, gave up another solo homer to Moss, and that was it. But I think if we're in a playoff situation, if we're in a situation the final week of the season where home field advantage is on the line or something, I think Joe Maddon handles that situation a little bit differently.
Okay, that's fair enough.
He already has gone to Chapman a couple of times in the 8th inning since he joined the Cubs. So I don't think it's a situation where Joe Maddon will not do that. I think last night he just wanted to make sure Hector got his work in.
You know what? I buy that too. I buy exactly what you're saying, and you're right. I mean, let's be honest. And I had a couple of guys say, hey, Lon, they got a 13-game lead. And he's right. They do have a 13-game lead, and when you have that, you can kind of play with that kind of stuff. And I think now it's back to 12, exactly what it started when the series got underway. Of course, for the Cardinals, the good news, it's bad news for the Marlins with Giancarlo Stanton out now for the year.
Yeah.
So if you're a Cardinals fan, you kind of pay attention to that because the Marlins are one of those teams you're fighting for on that second wild card spot, or even if they get hot that first. There's a lot of baseball left. I don't think any Cardinals fan in their right mind should worry about catching the Cubs. Let's be honest, right? That's not going to happen. I know the Cardinals a few years back, picked up like 10 games in a month with regards to making the playoffs, and I think they went on to win the World Series, but that's not going to happen with this Cubs team. So for Cardinals fans, I think it's more of focusing in on just that wild card spot. Talk to me real quick about the Cubs. Since we have a Cub guy in here, I got to talk more Cubs. What have your been impressions? I mean, Kyle Hendricks is unbelievable. And I've even brought this up to a lot of our beat writers from the Cubs that we have on our air on the Jupiters at the Crossing phone line. I even tell them, if the playoffs started today, Would Kyle Hendricks maybe be your number 2 guy or even 3? I mean, do you displace John Lackey? The one thing you love about Lackey, he's been there, done that a few times, right? So you know in the playoffs, he's going to come out there breathing normal, knowing exactly what you're going to get out of John Lackey. Kyle Hendricks, not necessarily the case. Younger guy, or maybe not younger, but in terms of inexperience with regards to postseason. What would you do? How would you construct that rotation if the playoffs started today?
Well, I think a lot of that's going to come down to how guys are throwing at the end of the regular season, because as you look at it right now, I mentioned this off the top, that the highest ERA on the staff is 3.4.
Crazy.
There's no bad options there.
No, there's not.
That's the good thing about it. I think right now Arrieta has kind of come back to form. He had a little rough spot before the All-Star break. He appears to he's come back to form. I think he's your number 1. After that, I think a lot of that can be matchups.
Okay,
depending on who you're playing. Is it a lineup that's kind of lefty heavy? Then maybe you go to a John Lester.
Good call.
In that number 2 spot. Is it a team that is a home run hitting team? Maybe Lackey gives up a few more home run balls on average than the other starters. Maybe he gets bumped back a little bit. And the guy we haven't mentioned yet is Jason Hamill, because he kind of gets lost in the shuffle. He's got an ERA under 3, and in the past, he's really struggled in the second half. I don't know if it's just getting worn down or whatever. He changed his offseason routine quite a bit and appears, at least at this point, to be pitching much better in the second half. So he's a viable option as well.
That's true. That's amazing, isn't it? Those 5, and they've all stayed healthy.
Well, it kind of reminds me. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Cardinals' rotation last year that was so good.
Right.
Just from top to bottom. And when you looked at it there, it was like, well, who's the Cardinals' number 1 starter?
Right.
I don't know, but
that is true.
They're all pretty good.
They were all good, and then it broke down in a hurry in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing about this is you're just an injury or 2 away from things going south. That's the way pitching is, so you just never know.
It's scary, and it'll be fun as September, I know we're in August now, but as September then gets here and starts to heat up, look out, that's going to be fun with all of this. I want to give you all the particulars. You can always join us on the Jupiters at the Crossing phone line or the Chief Bauer text line. It's the same number to make it easy, 217-359-2255. Again, 217-359-2255. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search Tay and J Show. I tweet, Brian, at Lonte ESPNCU. You are?
I'm at B. Moline, WILL.
That seems simple enough. Yeah. At B. Moline. You can watch us on this YouTube thing. Does it freak you out to look at yourself there, or can you even see yourself?
I have to kind of look around the other monitor there.
It's always there, and I try not to look at myself. I mean, I'm like, ugh. I don't want to stare at myself for 3 hours.
Yeah, it's I've got limited TV experience.
Right.
I have done some TV pledge drive already at WILL, and that's a little freaky.
Did you wear your makeup?
I did. Had to take a little bit of the glare off. I'm a little follically challenged these days, Lon.
You and Jeremy Warner kind of fit the same mold there, that, with regards to that.
A prominent forehead, I think is what they like to say.
I always like to kid. We'll have Craig Choate in here from Channel 3. I'll just ask him, are you going to wear your makeup on the radio?
Yeah, well, he's not just on the radio. See, that's the thing.
Well, that's the truth. Now he's going to be on TV, so he'll look good, although we'll put him at that third mic. You won't even be able to see him.
Oh, okay.
Just see the back of his head, essentially. So you'll be able to see the back of Craig Choate's head, because you never see that on TV, only the front. You can also get our podcast, ESPNCU.com. There's an app now on your phone, Brian. It's pretty cool, I guess. Okay. That's what the young kids tell me. But you go to WSJK, and you can listen to our show anywhere in the world, which is pretty cool. And then iTunes powers it on the podcast, and that's all sponsored by GTPS Insurance. Our intern, no, it's not an intern. He's our executive producer, Austin Berkland, who came in on a day off to help us out today. So the pride of Paxton is here. Nathan DeSutter, proudly wearing his Toronto Blue Jay hat, although he's a Cubs fan.
Okay.
So it's a little, I don't know, he's a little strange. He's just turned 16 the other day, so he's excited about that. And I think maybe he got that for his birthday. I kid, he's 20 now. But Nathan DeSutter will do all updates coming up. Now, this hour, I actually worked yesterday, because most of our listeners know that Jeremy just does all the work, and I pretty much show up for 3 hours just to talk and be goofy. So yesterday I actually attended Illinois Media Day for football.
Yeah.
So Lovie Smith spoke. He said some cool things. Lovie's just a cool dude. Just to be in the same room with Lovie, number one, it hasn't that the shine has not worn off for me on that. It was still pretty cool to sit there and go, that's stinking Lovie Smith is the Illinois football coach. But he said some good things. Then they took some pictures out on the field, and then I had a chance to catch up with some of the players yesterday, and we'll let you listen to some of that when we return. Again, Brian Moline is our special guest today, filling in for Jeremy and Carp. You'll hear from Craig Choate, WCIA3 Sports, is going to join us about 4:05. Jeremy Warner, of course, the co-host of the Tay and J Show, also publisher of IlliniInquirer.com, will join us at 5:25. Have you ever done a 3-hour sports show? This is like a marathon runner.
Yeah, and unless a call-in show went really long.
Oh, and I want to ask you about those.
That's about the only time I would have come close, I think.
I want to ask you about those. We're Jeremy and I are like the long-distance runners. We're not Usain Bolt. You know, we don't have many of those. Those shows, they last forever on this. Usually when people come and join us, like 2 hours in, they're like, are we almost done? I'm like, no, we got another hour. Isn't it fun?
We're just getting started.
We're just now picking it up. So, Brian Moline, I'm excited about this. I do want to ask you as we come up in this hour about some of those call-in shows for Illinois, because I listened to every one of them, and I always just really respected you on that and felt bad for you sometimes on those shows.
Some were more pleasant than others.
I'd say, all right, give us a text, 359-2255. If you want to weigh in, you can call us on the Jupiter's at the Crossing phone line, 217-359-2255. Updates next. We'll hear from some Illini football players as well from yesterday's media day. It's all next. It's the Tay and J Show.
Hi, I'm Damon Hackelman, owner of CleanRite in Champaign. If you're looking for a trusted restoration service company, just look for the guys in the blue trucks. At CleanRite, we understand that life happens, and we're ready to help. Our experienced service technicians will provide you with not only a quick response, but also honest answers and advice. For water, fire, smoke, or mold restoration, we're there when you need us. Call CleanRite today at 351-4930. That's 351-4930. Or just Google CleanRite Champaign.
When your computer's not working, you're not working. Hi, this is Dan from Simplified Computers. Whether your computer is running slow, you have a virus, or it's just time for an upgrade, Simplified Computers is here to help with personal service you won't find at the big box stores. We can set up your wireless network, build, install, and maintain your business's server, or replace your hard drive. For over 18 years, we have served the Champaign-Urbana community with integrity and quality customer service. Call us at 352-5000. Simplified Computers, simply the best.
10 amazing chefs under one roof. It's happening Thursday, October 13th at the Hilton Garden Inn, supporting March of Dimes. You'll enjoy great food from CNC Kitchen, Jen's Creations, Hilton Garden Inn, Distill, Lincolnshire Fields Country Club, and Radio Maria. It's the 2016 Signature Chefs Auction presented by Carl. Buy tickets now for this great night, which includes food, drinks, auction items, the 2016 Nurse of the Year, and the 2016 Chef of the Year. Plus, you'll get to meet this year's 2016 Ambassador family, all at the Signature Chefs Auction presented by Carl. Buy tickets today at signatureschefs.marchofdimes.org.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday morning 7 to 9, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Hey, ESPN 93.5, welcoming back U of I students with our Welcome Back student bags, powered by the Prospect Bank. They are taking over our conference room here at the station. Look for the Q96 crew on Quad Day to claim your bag with deals and offers from all sorts of great businesses in our area. How about Jets Pizza, Game Day Spirit, TGI Fridays, FedEx, and everybody's favorite, Brian, Cam's.
Indeed.
Of course, right? Plus, 10 lucky bags are stuffed with a $100 Visa gift card. That's unless I go in there and rifle through them first. It's our Welcome Back student grab bag, thanks to Prospect Bank and ESPN 93.5. Brian Moline is my guest here on the Tay and J Show. We're getting ready, if I can get Nathan to stand up, we're getting ready to do an update here with him. Before we get to him, though, you did for many years the post-game show of Illinois basketball and football.
I did.
That sometimes, I mean, now there were fun years.
Yeah.
Where you got a chance to, and I'm sure even then, even after a big win, sometimes you'd have some critical callers. But I'm sure that was challenging at times to do that. And at times I would especially after basketball games, I'd just go to bed, turn the radio on and listen to you. And I would just sit there and go, oh no, Brian. Oh, no. This isn't going to be good. I mean, that was challenging, but you know what? And I think you would agree to this. It's frustrating, and for Illinois fans, it's just a way to get it off your chest.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you just kind of had to be that springboard. Like, you know what? Go.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. This is exactly what it was. It was kind of armchair psychiatry,
right.
To a degree. You know. All right, just lay down here. So tell Dr. Moline what's on your mind. What's bothering you about tonight's Illini loss.
That's so true. But it was fun. You had fun doing that.
I did.
And I'm sure that's something that, now when you did that, obviously you didn't go to the games. You'd stay back in the studio and kind of chart the game as you went. I assume at that point, I've never hosted like a post-game show. I assume at that point you're writing down little tidbits of information that you can go with.
Yeah, just jotting down some notes, and I always had, tried to have some stats handy as well, just to kind of for reference and everything like that. And but certainly, what always would strike me about doing that show is just with the precision that fans will remember a specific play.
Yes.
Do you remember when the score was tied at 55, that horrible shot that Warren Carter took from 18 feet with a hand in his face?
Right.
And I'd be thinking back, no, I don't really.
I really don't.
No, I don't. There was 8 minutes left. I really didn't notch that one in my memory, right there. But yeah, the Illini fans, very passionate. Always appreciated that. And win or lose, I could always count on an active post-game.
And they're passionate, and that's what you love about Illinois fans. Lovie Smith, and then I'll get to our update. Actually, let me wait. Let me hold that because we're going to listen to some Illini football players coming up. I want to ask you about the Lovie Smith regime and just kind of get Brian Moline's perspective on what kind of excitement level that is bringing to Champaign-Urbana. But right now, it's time for the update.
Time for the update. Illini football, two big commits over the weekend, and they're both Missouri products and were big targets for Mizzou. Three-star cornerback Tony Adams and three-star offensive lineman Larry Board. Losing to SLU in the state of Missouri late last week with the Jordan Goodwin commitment, it feels really good to win one. MLB, all the local teams have off days today, but that doesn't mean we don't have storylines after suffering a tragic defeat at the hands of the rival Redbirds. The Cubs are now only 12 games up in the division. According to Twitter last night, all is lost and the season is certainly over. Well, that's not entirely true. They start a 4-game series, which includes a Tuesday doubleheader with the Talent Script Brewers. Game 1 is tomorrow afternoon. Trevor Cahill versus former Cub Matt Garza. Off the field, the Cubs fired the Wrigley Field DJ. After closer Aroldis Chapman exited the mound following a scoreless inning, the DJ played the song Smack My Bee Up by the British band Prodigy. Due to Chapman's controversial background with domestic violence, you can imagine why there was such an outrage. The Cubs called it an irresponsible music selection. Injury news, John Lackey had to leave mid-batter in last night's game with a stiff shoulder. After the game, he said he was okay and the removal was just the result of being cautious. With last night's comeback win, the Cardinals improved to 62-56 and stayed a half game up on the Marlins for the second wildcard spot. The Dodgers have a 3.5-game lead for the first wildcard spot with a 65-52 record. It's sad news, but good news for the Cardinals' playoff chances. Marlins slugger Giancarlo Stanton is out for the rest of the season with a groin injury. To replace him, they may be looking at Alex Rodriguez. The White Sox just finished
his agent said, nope.
Oh, that's not going to happen?
Nope. He said he's not playing anywhere this year. Get that thought out of your mind.
Man.
Now watch tomorrow. He'll sign with the Marlins.
You never trust A-Rod, right?
Exactly.
That's what we learned. Olympic gymnastics, Simone Biles' quest for an all-gold Olympics is over. She received a bronze in vault. Teammate Lori Hernandez earned silver. Football, the Bears and Pats are having co-training camp this week. Fists were kind of flying. Alshon Jeffrey, Malcolm Butler got into a little bit of a spat. 3:30 Sports Center.
ESPN 93.5 invites you to the 2016 Active Aging Expo. It happens Monday, September 19th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the iHotel and Conference Center, presented by Audible. Are you active and aging? Then this expo is for you. Get more details today at espncu.com. Lon, if you're aging, then I am too. I think we're about the same vintage.
I think so. I'm 45.
All right, I got a little work to do to catch up.
Okay.
I just turned 40.
Well, good for you, man.
Yeah.
You're not that old at all.
Well, you don't look it, my friend.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. I assume I've always had that. I was the baby-faced kid when I was young. So I was the kid that got to college and people were like, are you just a prodigy? I'm like, no, I'm actually 19. They're like, oh, you look like you're 5. So I was that guy. But I assume one of these days, with the life I live, I assume just all of a sudden I'm going to wake up one day and I'm going to be like, wow, you look old, dude.
Or you might be Bob Costas, who's going to look the same, and you look the same 30 years from now.
He really does. Isn't that crazy? He really does on that. All right, Brian Moline is my guest. It's the Tay and J Show. Lon Tay and Brian Moline. Craig Choate's going to join us, Channel 3 Sports 405. Jeremy Warner, co-host Tay and J Show, going to join us at 525. Brian filling in because Jeremy is taking another day off with his baby, which is awesome. Torin Warner. I finally got to see. I haven't seen the baby yet.
Okay.
But I did get to see Jeremy yesterday, gave him a big old hug on Memorial Stadium's turf, and that's the first time we'd seen each other since he had his child. But you're filling in today for both of those guys. Lovie Smith, when that happened, when that announcement rang, and I remember the weekend where Bill Cubitt gets released by Josh Whitman, gets basically let go, and then the rumors started coming out that day. Lovie Smith may be the next coach. What went through your mind, Brian?
The first thing that went through my mind when I started seeing that was, what?
Right? Right.
I just, because I didn't know of the connection. You know, I wasn't, you know, Josh Whitman, of course, played for Ron Turner. Ron Turner was the offensive coordinator under Lovie Smith with the Bears. I just hadn't put my mind around that whole connection.
Exactly.
And once I saw that, I'm like, you know, it starts to make sense because Ron Turner really has been kind of a mentor for Josh Whitman in a lot of ways.
I would agree. So that just bringing some credibility to Illinois, and then you hear that he hires Garrick McGee away from Louisville. I think he's paying him less than what Garrick McGee was going to make at Louisville as the offensive coordinator. Then he brings in Hardy stinking Nickerson as the defensive coordinator, who Kent Brown still hasn't had him come in studio. So I'm not very happy with Kent, but Kent's so much taller than me, and he could just whip me. just in terms of, he could just hold my head back, and I wouldn't be able to land any punches.
He's got the reach on you.
He's got the reach for sure. So I can't. There's nothing I can do about it. And now that football's going, I'll never be able to do it. But he promised me one day Hardy would come in. But how cool is that to get names like that? I mean, Brian, you can't help as an Illini fan but think this is really going to change the direction of this program with especially just those three guys, and that's not even counting Bob Ligashecki. I never say his name right. I doubt I did there. Mike Fair and all these other guys, Theo Ward. I mean, to me, as an Illini fan, lifelong Illini fan, I'm excited to see what could happen eventually.
Yeah, I think so. And the concern, I think, when you had a lot of these guys coming in from the NFL was, okay, how are they going to do on the recruiting side of things? And in fairness, it did get off to a bit of a slow start, but as we heard in our last update, it really has started to pick up.
Yes.
They're getting a couple of big recruits out of the state of Missouri. When's the last time Illinois got anybody out of the state of Missouri in football? Maybe
Nathan Shieldhouse, I guess, right?
Yeah. And then before that, going back to like Christian
Morton. Yeah, good call. Brandon Lloyd back in the day. I mean, whoever we've gotten out of there has been really productive. So I encourage him to keep doing that.
Exactly. So, but when with Missouri, really being fairly prominent these days in the SEC, and they've had a lot of recent success. To get some guys out of there, I think does speak well that they're starting to lay the groundwork on the recruiting side. And then just looking up and down the coaching tree here, another familiar name is back in Luke Butkus as well. Always great to have a Butkus on the staff at Illinois.
No doubt. That was fun to have him in his first go around. It was too bad when he left, but now he's back, and I think he believes. I don't think he believed in the direction it was going under Tim Beckman. So maybe he was one of the early guys to realize this isn't what I think should be. And he took off, of course. I think he went to Jacksonville and helped with the offensive line there. But now he's back, and that's huge too. And I talked to Gabe Meganson yesterday, and he kind of mentioned that about playing for Coach Butkus and how cool it is. And to have that lineage, I agree with you. Just to have another Butkus on campus just seems right.
Yeah, it really does.
Correct?
Yeah.
Well, one of those guys, Hardy Nickerson, Lovie, one of his first, I wouldn't call it a recruit, but it's a fifth-year senior transfer, and that's Hardy Nickerson. And my mic's falling. It does this every day. And I start this interview out. I had a chance to talk to Hardy yesterday, and I started out by asking him, like, what are we supposed to call you? Because I want to call him Junior, but he's not really Junior. And, he's got a middle name that's different than his dad's, but they're both Hardy Nickerson. So this whole stinking year, it's going to be, well, Hardy Nickerson, the player, did this, but Hardy Nickerson, the dad, did this. So it's going to be confusing.
Can we use middle initials?
You know what? Maybe we ought to have their middle names.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to find out who their middle names is.
Hardy M and Hardy H or whatever.
Well, and then there's Justin Hardy. Yeah. And there's so many Hardys on this. And in fact, Hardy Nickerson, the player, alluded to that when I had a chance to talk to him yesterday. Here's that interview with Hardy Nickerson.
All right, Hardy Nickerson, you're not junior.
Nope.
I mean, Lovey even got that wrong this morning.
Yeah.
How many times have you... I mean, look, with my goofy name, Lon Tay, I got to spell it all the time.
Uh-huh.
You've got one of those names. Does everybody want to call you Junior, or how's that work?
So far, everyone's been calling me Hardy.
Okay.
But, we have my dad, Justin Hardy. We have a Harvey Clayton. So, every time I hear it, I'm turning my head, making sure it's me, or if it isn't me, But, we have different middle names, so
sure.
It doesn't bother me if people call me Junior, but it's just not official. So
Right. Well, you don't want to be known as Junior when you're out here making 100 tackles a year, right? Lovey did pay a nice compliment to you in the fact that since day one you've gotten here, you've just been a leader. I mean, you've done what you need to do as a fifth-year guy. I mean, you've been around this. You know what you're doing. Just a different location.
Yeah.
What has it been like so far your time with Illinois?
It's been great. Just to be around the guys and get to know everyone. And training camp has been a grind, but it's been a lot of fun. So, we're going through it, and today's a nice off day, but, looking forward to get back in the film room and learn from all the video and all that. So,
coming from the Pac-12 down to the Big Ten, I know last year you had 100-plus tackles. Do you feel like this conference this year, this could fit kind of your role on what you need to be in terms of gobbling up a lot of tackles?
Definitely. Coming to the Big Ten, I think, is big-time football. There's still some spread teams here, but a lot more of the traditional pro-style offenses, and I think that's kind of my strong suit. So.
I was going to say, is that you'd rather be that, right? You
yeah.
Probably don't like seeing the spread.
No, it doesn't bother me.
I was going to say it probably doesn't.
Football is football, but you definitely love the chances where you can just buckle up and you got some downhill run game.
Get her going. I love it. Now, you came in and filled a need. What do you think of your other linebacker guy, Jones, Watson, these guys? How is everybody doing? I guess because, as I think listeners and our fans, if you're sitting there thinking, all right, the linebacker position should be pretty good now that you're here and everything's taken care of. Is everybody kind of finding their groove?
Yeah, definitely. This camp, everyone's kind of clicking. Young guys are picking it up. Dele has been picking it up. Trey Watson, Julian, Justice, James, of course, but everyone's pretty much competing every day. So you don't want to be the guy slacking.
No doubt. Yeah. You're almost here, man. It's almost game time with Murray State. What's that going to be like for you? I mean, a guy that's obviously played a lot of college football games, but it's such a new beginning in a way for you. What will that feel like? Will you feel like a freshman again on that day?
I don't know if I'll feel like a freshman, but it's going to be very exciting just to run out of the tunnel, see our fans, and my first game experience as a Fighting Illini.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Hardy, thank you very much, buddy.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man. Good luck this year.
Thank you.
Good luck with everything.
That is Hardy Nick. I don't know how to say goodbye. Obviously, I'm like, hey, good luck with everything.
with life,
just with life in general, Hardy. Good luck with your classes. Don't get too many parking tickets. I'm just that guy. I'm just like, good luck with everything.
Good luck with your roommates.
Right. Now that you're here on campus, just good luck getting around town. This kid is going to help, Brian. I mean, this was I don't want to say a godsend, but when you realize you lost, all of a sudden, I'm forgetting his name. He went to Auburn.
Yes, I know, and
we'll think of it. We'll think of it in a minute. But you lose him. The linebacker goes to Auburn. That's funny. We both forgot. You had a hole there. And, of course, Julian Jones, we didn't know what was going to happen with him, with everything off the field that had happened, but he's back now. Trey Watson's a little bit inexperienced, but you've got a front four, or really a front seven, and especially when you add Hardy Nickerson, the player, that's going to be a really fun thing to deal with this year. Not a fun thing to deal with if you're an offense, but fun for fans to watch.
Yeah, I think so. I think this defense has a lot of talent up front for sure. They should be able to get some pressure on the quarterback and hopefully at the same time be able to stuff the run pretty well. And that's kind of one of the hallmarks of a Lovie Smith defense. They're really good up front. They stuff the run, and with the cover two, they kind of make you play underneath them in the passing game and that cover two system. So, and I think that could be good for the secondary as well. The key for the secondary is going to be in a cover 2 type system, you have to make tackles.
Right.
You have to come up and make the play. You know, you're not going to get beat a lot over the top. That's just the nature of that system.
Sure.
But if you've got guys running crossing routes, you've got guys running those underneath patterns, you've got to come up and make that tackle. That's what makes the cover 2 system successful.
And I've had some guys tell me that have had eyes on practice that Hardy Nickerson's a lot quicker than you think. And I was thinking he'd be more one of those just run stuff kind of linebackers, but they said he can get out and run. The other thing, Lovie Smith said yesterday that it's really not just a cover 2. It's interesting that you said that because that was the question about the cover 2. And he's like, guys, it's not just always a cover 2. He's like, we will run some cover 2, but he said we're going to mix things around on defense. So I found that interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not calling you out because I was saying the same thing, and so were everybody in that media room yesterday asking the questions. But he said, guys, it's not just going to be that cover 2. And he's like, I don't know why I always get pinned on that. He's pretty funny when you talk about that. But it could be interesting, and I'm anxious to see kind of how that does align because the secondary is maybe a little bit of the worry this year, so that'll be interesting to watch how that plays out.
By the way, the name we were trying to think of, thanks to an unnamed texter for this,
right.
TJ Neal.
TJ Neal.
TJ Neal.
Thank you. Well, I love our listeners. They come through when we need it. Yeah, TJ Neal, of course, went to Auburn, and then we got Jamel President back in the trade.
Yeah.
The player to be named later was Jamel President.
That's right.
I had a chance to see him, say hi to him yesterday, and he looks the part. He looks like he could really help, and he adds a lot of depth to that defensive line that should be really good with Rob Bain and Twan Smoot and Carroll Phillips and on and on and on. I mean, I think that's going to be a key to that team, stopping the run. And how weird will it be to see an Illinois football team stop the run?
Yeah, that would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. I mean, how many years have we had to watch the likes of Nebraska and Wisconsin and Ohio State just run the ball up and down the field?
Just shred us. And if you can stop that run and force a lot of Big Ten quarterbacks to throw, that's in your favor. I mean, I know there's some quality quarterbacks, but for the most part, a lot of them are just there to kind of game plan, hand the ball off, make the one pass when they need it. If you can stop that and force that to beat you, and a guy like Jalen Dunlap comes into play, then huge. I think that would be big for this Illini defense. All right, I also had a chance to catch up with Gabe Meganson, the talented offensive lineman who's really fighting for a starting lineup, or a starting job at that right guard position. And Kendrick Foster, I wanted a chance to talk to Kendrick. Of course, he's a kid that nearly left Illinois. And he talked about that when I had a chance to sit with him yesterday. So when we come back, we'll kind of go to the offensive side of the ball, hear from a couple of players there. If you want to weigh in, 359-2255. Brian Moline is joining me today, and it's fun. It's the Tay and J Show.
Nobody plays more country music per hour than US 105.9, where they start every workday with 3 hours of continuous country. US 105.9 is a proud sister station to ESPN Radio 93.5.
No matter what age, braces can give you that beautiful smile you've been hoping for. If you have crooked teeth or a misaligned bite, West Main Dental in downtown Urbana has a variety of treatments that can help straighten your teeth, including braces, Invisalign, and retainers. And right now, West Main Dental is offering $500 off orthodontic services. That's right, $500 off. Call today for a free consultation to get that beautiful smile you deserve. Mention this ad to find out how you can save $500. Some restrictions apply. See office for details. The staff at West Main Dental is well-trained, and they're dedicated in making your orthodontic treatment a memorable and enjoyable experience. Let West Main Dental give you the smile that you deserve. West Main Dental in downtown Urbana, 607-1292, and online at westmaindental.com.
Hello, this is Shane Coulter of Country Arbors Nursery. Did you lose a tree over the winter? Do you live in a new home and the sun is beating down on your yard or house? Or maybe you've just been putting off year after year, coming up with an excuse why you haven't planted a tree. In any case, now is the time to let Country Arbors plant a tree for you. For a short time, Country Arbors is discounting the planting charge of all our trees. Why would you want to go through the work of hauling and planting a 10-foot-tall, beautiful tree when Country Arbors will do all the work for just $100 and will guarantee our work for up to 5 years? So schedule your tree planting today. You can visit countryarbors.com for more information and directions.
All right, it's the Tay and J Show, ESPN Radio 93.5. Latte, Brian Moline, if you want to weigh in, 217-359-2255. That's our Jupiter's the Crossing phone line and the cheap hour text line. 405 today. Craig Choate, WCIA 3 Sports, is going to come in. We'll talk some Illini hoop. We'll talk some Illini football with Craig, and then Jeremy Warner is going to join us at 5:25. We're going to kind of tackle that whole Jordan Goodwin thing.
Yeah.
Not a good subject. And, of course, we didn't have a show Friday due to the Cards-Cubs game. We really haven't tackled that with Goodwin deciding on a school of his choice being SLU and not Illinois. But we'll do that with Jeremy Warner and also talk Illini football recruiting as well as things begin to heat up. I know Illinois made the final list of the final five of Chris Wilkes, who's a five-star guy that Indiana and Xavier are high on. He's from Indiana. That seems like a long shot to me, but you're in the final five.
Yeah, you're in the final five, and you do have a very quality big man already in that recruiting class with Tillman. And now that Goodwin has gone elsewhere,
right?
Maybe that will cause some wing players to say, hey, you know what? Maybe there's a spot for me here.
It's a great point, and maybe Wilkes could be that. That'd be a huge get right now. Of course, right in front of them is Trent Frazier, who's going to join, or is going to, we hope he's going to join, is going to visit this coming weekend to campus. So hopefully John Gross can land that. I think that's almost now a must-get, Trent Frazier, now that you've lost Goodwin.
Yeah, I think so. You know, those in-state guys are always the ones you want to prioritize, especially this class of 2017, because that's always been earmarked as long as I can remember, it seems. Since those guys were like in 8th grade. It's like, this is the class that Illinois has to get, the 2017 recruiting class. And here it is. They've got Tillman. They've got DeMonte Williams out of Peoria, of course, son of Frank. And so they've got a good start, but they really need to close strong here.
Yeah, and with Javon Pickett as well. So you've got 3 of your 5 or 6. I think Frazier would make a nice addition at 4, and then maybe go out and get a big man like a Mayan Kerr down in Florida or something. But we'll talk to Jeremy Warner about that as we go, and probably around 5:25. Now, again, I had a chance yesterday to attend the Illinois Football Media Day. One of the guys I wanted to talk to is Gabe Megginson, a 4-5-star recruit out of Jacksonville. And Brian, one of those guys that was recruited by Ohio State, all the big guns. And he chose Illinois. And I think that's important. And it's funny because you'll hear this in the interview I did with him. I said, I think for a lot of the fans, we're like wondering why you're not automatically starting. And it all comes down sometimes that 4 or 5-star thing. We think as fans that, we got a 5-star guy, he's going to start from day one. It's not that easy always.
Yeah, especially up front in the line.
Great call.
Because a lot of times you see those guys coming out of high school, they've got a lot of the skills, they've got a lot of the talent. Their bodies aren't quite ready for the Big Ten grind yet. It takes a little while to, be in the Big Ten weight room and, that kind of strength and conditioning program to really be ready to battle in the trenches.
I agree. And he's a big boy. Mm-hmm. He's a big boy, and he's goofy. I don't know if you follow him on Twitter.
I do.
He and Adam Solomon have this thing going every night now during camp where they tweet out the goofiest stuff. And that's kind of how I started my interview with the big boy up front, Gabe Megginson.
First of all, following you on Twitter, and you and your, is it Solomon?
Yeah, he's the cat.
Are you guys just a little bit goofy or what?
A little bit, camp's a grind, and you got to find those little things that get you through it, We're always looking forward to that, coming home from meetings and everything, so we think things up, it's starting to get hard. There's only a couple days left, but the randomness is hard to catch up with.
One day somebody was on the ceiling or something.
Yeah, I was stuck to the ceiling with some jam on the stomach.
Is it all football all the time, or do you have to get away from it?
I mean, last year I tried to make it kind of all football. I was just trying to come in and see what I could do, and then it's when I'm in it, I'm going to put my all into it. But as soon as it doesn't have to be, I'm not going to make it.
I don't blame you. You'd think at night. I mean, how often do you guys rooming with another guy on the offensive line and stuff? How often do you guys talk technique and that kind of stuff when you're never?
No, never. I mean, in the locker room after maybe the first 5 minutes after practice, did you see this play, that? And then as soon as we get out of the locker room, it's just, all right, we're normal people. Let's just talk about normal things.
Lovey in there was talking about you, talking about the offensive line and stuff, and I get the feeling it seemed like last year Nick Allegretti kind of had that year that you're kind of having now, where you're slowly just kind of playing into that spot. And I know for a lot of fans, you're a high recruit, blah blah blah. Why isn't Gabe automatically starting?
Right.
It's not that easy, is it? But it's for us looking from the outside, we think, well, he should be obvious on the starting lineup. How tough is the process, and what are you learning every day to get yourself to where you are definitely on that starting spot?
It's extremely tough. I was recruited in high school a little bit, and I think that gave people kind of false sense of like absolutely he'll come and start. And I wish it didn't play out like that. I'm not one to like brag about who I was and who I am and stuff like that. So I kind of wish people could see how hard it is. I've never thought that I was in the leading spot for a starting role. I've always been like, I'm competing with him to get it.
Absolutely.
Like I never have it. And so it's extremely tough. Just learning the plays and executing them like Buckus wants. You can do it, but to his level, it's a whole different thing. And it's just consistency. That's on me. I'm just young playing like a redshirt freshman sometimes. Sometimes I think I have decent plays, and the others it's just like, wow, I don't even know if I should have played in high school.
I doubt that's true. Talking to the Gabe Egginson here on the Tay and J Show. Who do you look up to on that line? Is there more than one guy? Like a Joe Spencer, those kind of guys? Or is there one guy that you kind of watch every day and just say, all right, this is the guy I want to kind of help get me to that next level? Or is that something it's just all as a unit?
It's just all those guys, because like Schmidt, him and Christian, they're so athletic, so you want to be athletic like them. But Nicky, I would never want to be a defensive lineman getting pulled on and trapped out by him. Never want that. And Joe, that dude knows every blitz. He's the smartest dude on the line by far.
That's awesome.
And he calls out. Luckily, he calls out most of the things, so then I get to see it, because if it was all depending on me, it'd be a little rough. But he's a smart guy, and he's a great leader.
Do you see yourself in the future more of a tackle or a guard? I know this year you're going kind of for that guard spot.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself? What would Gabe Egginson ideally like to be?
I always wanted to be a tackle, but I think that's more of a maturing with your body type deal. It's, for me at least, it was really hard to beat those edge rushers. That was just in practice. So you got to have a lot of confidence, I think, and just have a lot of body control.
Sure.
Be a big thing, and that's why Schmidt and Christian are so good. So, I'd either or, but coming in, I thought it was just going to be purely a tackle. But guard, definitely you get a lot of help from the center and tackle. So
absolutely.
So I think that helps you grow.
I talk to a lot of guys, and we always talk about what it's like to have Lovey come in here as the coach. You committed to the previous coaching staff. And then, that happens. Yeah. All of a sudden, Lovey Smith is your head coach.
Yeah.
How cool is that? As fans, do we think that's a little bit cooler than? I know you guys. This is your boss, basically, right? But how cool? That's pretty cool. Getting an NFL guy here as your coach.
It's the coolest thing. I was extremely happy committing to Beckman and Cuban and that staff, but waking up on that morning when we knew we were getting a new head coach and seeing him walk in, that was the best feeling I probably had. It was just a big relief. There's a lot of question marks around the program, and then that hit, and I feel like we've just been consistently happy and just wanting to play a lot more, and just everybody's just really committed to the football part of it way more.
Illinois football has had its years. It's had its Rose Bowls. It's had its peaks. What it's always lacked, it seems like, is just the consistency. The winning every year for a few years in a row, like you've seen other programs kind of get to. Do you feel like, with you being a redshirt freshman, now with Lovey Smith in here, and he's going to start bringing in his guys, do you feel like you could kind of be on that ground floor of where we look back 10, 15 years from now and say, Gabe and those guys came in here and really established that thing, and now look where it's at?
I'm hoping so, because I thought our class, even the classes before us, that was really kind of the start to the build-up of just the hype all around the program. And then we needed this hire. Having Coach Smith in here and his staff is just, we needed that boost. And I hope we are the foundation. I think we're a pretty young team.
Sure.
So, that was my dream, even just committing here 2 years ago, just to be the foundation class and all that.
What's it going to be that first time when you finally get to run out there? Big old 72 running out to take a spot, man. What's that going to be like?
Probably trip or something.
We won't notice it, all right?
I remember last year knowing I wasn't even going to take a snap. I was just shaking. I was just so excited, and butterflies and all that cliche answers.
Exactly.
It really is just like that.
It's going to be here. Gabe, thanks, buddy.
Thank you so
much.
much.
Great job. Good luck this year.
Thank you so
much.
much.
Good luck on everything.
I said it again.
Good luck on everything.
Good luck on everything to everybody. Just good stuff there with Gabe Meganson, a guy that is so humble. I think he's just a humble kid. And Jeremy and I have talked a lot about this, Brian, with regards to Nick Allegretti. He kind of went through the same thing that Gabe Meganson is going through right now. Allegretti last year was the big recruit, came in but couldn't win that left guard spot. And Illinois turned that over to a veteran. Now this year, you've got a guy like Gabe Meganson that, for a lot of fans, it's like, well, it's automatic. He should be starting. He's a redshirt freshman, et cetera. But it's not always easy. And like you said, especially up front.
No, exactly. I mean, if you look at some of the better offensive line schools in the Big Ten, the Wisconsins, the Iowas, the Ohio States, they don't often have redshirt freshmen starting on their lines.
And Wisconsin did last year, and you saw it was kind of it was an issue for them.
Right.
When's the last time you've ever seen Wisconsin or heard of Wisconsin having an issue on the offensive line?
Yeah, that's an unusual thing, and there's a reason they weren't quite as good up front as they usually are. So for Illini fans, yes, Gabe is a great talent. He's got a lot of potential up front, but if he does not win that starting job right away, one, it doesn't mean that he's doing anything wrong.
Right.
And two, it doesn't mean that, Illinois is not going to be good at that position.
Exactly. That's a great way to say that. And how about this? You got depth. How about having a guy like Gabe Meganson, if somebody gets hurt, you can turn to immediately, or even an Adam Solomon or someone that can handle that line. I think that offensive line is going to be key because Lovie Smith said it again yesterday, Brian. We believe in the run. We're going to run the football. That's not easily done in the Big Ten. So we'll see how patient he is with getting that done. You've got a good running back in Keyshawn Vaughn. You've got some veterans on that offensive line, but really your tackles with Austin Schmidt and Christian Delorio, I mean, they're almost built for the pass a little bit more than the run. So it's going to be interesting to me, especially maybe not Murray State, but that North Carolina game, Western Michigan game leading into Nebraska. It's going to be interesting to me after 3 or 4 games. Where is Illinois rushing the ball? Are they at 150 yards a game? Are they higher than that? Are they down around 130? It can't be 130. That's not going to be good. So that'll be a thing I look at early in the season to see how well that's going.
Sure. And are they able to get that push up front? Are they averaging 4, 5, 6 yards a carry?
Exactly.
Are they getting stuffed up front and, still going to the run, but only getting 2 or 3 yards a crack? That'll be something to look at as well. And I think for a guy like Wes Luntz, who's kind of your classic drop back passer, you really need that running game to take some of the pressure off of him. As we've seen, Wes can move around a little bit, but he's certainly not going to run the football much, and you don't want him in passing situations where the other team can just tee off on
That's
him.
exactly right. You got to watch that. Well, next hour, we're going to talk some more Illinois football with Craig Choate, WCIA3 Sports. I'll ask him his impressions of Lovie Smith yesterday at Media Day. I also have a couple of other interviews I want to run with Kendrick Foster, who's battling right now for that second spot behind Keyshawn Vaughn. It was a great interview with Kendrick. I asked him about almost transferring. He almost left Illinois, gave a really good answer. And Wes Lunt, the guy you just talked about, spoke with some of the media as well. We'll get to that next hour. Jeremy Warner's going to join us at 5:25. Brian Moline's my special guest today. We're 1 hour in.
1 out of 3 ain't bad.
I love it. It is the Tay and J Show.
Brick's Wood-Fired Pizza in Champaign isn't your typical pizza joint. Their dough is made fresh daily, only with the best ingredients, sauce, and cheese. Stop into Brick's for their daily lunch special, a half pizza with your choice of salad or soup for just $7.95. With gluten-free and vegan options, Brick's has pizzas to satisfy anyone's taste buds. Brick's also has hot and made-to-order sandwiches along with freshly made salads and pastas. For dinner, make it Brick's Wood-Fired Pizza at the corner of Neal and Devonshire in Champaign.
Christopher & Company in downtown Champaign is celebrating their anniversary by sending you to see Billy Joel. Register to win tickets at Christopher & Company in downtown Champaign at 124 North Neal Street. That's right, Christopher & Company in downtown Champaign is sending you to see Billy Joel. It's Christopher & Company in downtown Champaign's anniversary. Stop by 124 North Neal Street today and browse their line of custom jewelry pieces. And get registered to see Billy Joel at Christopher & Company.
Game Day Spirit, the official fan store of the Fighting Illini, is celebrating this summer in style.
Stop by our store at 519 East Green or 1422 South Neal in Champaign any Thursday this summer for buy one, get two free t-shirts. And check out our brand new inventory, including men's, women's, and youth clothing and novelties. Now's the time to shop all University of Illinois apparel and accessories and save big at Game Day Spirit Fan Store, the official fan store of your Fighting Illini. Can't make it in? Shop online anytime at GameDaySpirit.com. Go Illini.
From executive producer LeBron James.
I need this, like yesterday.
Cleveland entrepreneurs get a chance to compete for their shot at success.
That will be a game changer for me and our business.
I believe your hustle is going to make this happen. We got work to do now.
It's hard work, but it's totally worth it.
Cleveland Hustles. Premiere episodes Wednesdays at 10.
Everybody can have great ideas, but do you have what it takes in here?
Only on CNBC.
Live from the Habib BPC studios, this is WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
I'm Pam Puso.
Hillary Clinton's policies launched ISIS onto the world stage.
While attacking his Democratic rival during a foreign policy speech in Youngstown, Ohio, Donald Trump unveiled his plan to defeat ISIS. Fox's Jared Halpern has more live.
Republican nominee Donald Trump wants a temporary ban on anyone entering the U.S. from countries with a history of exporting terrorism, at least, he says, until an extreme vetting process is up and running.
We must also screen out any who have hostile attitudes toward our country or its principles, or who believe that Sharia law should supplant American law.
That would include, he says, ensuring visa applicants endorse religious freedom, gender equality, and gay rights. Trump also says his administration would work with any country sharing the goal of destroying ISIS. That would include Russia. Pam.
Thanks, Jared. Vice President Joe Biden doesn't think much of Trump's ideas.
This man is totally, thoroughly unqualified to be president of the United States of America.
Biden campaigning with Hillary Clinton in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Thousands will spend the night in shelters in southern Louisiana where swollen rivers continue to threaten communities.
This is an animal all to itself. The flooding from the rain is hitting areas that historically have not been hit by this type of flooding.
Craig Cooper with the Red Cross, at least 6 people are confirmed dead. Police in Milwaukee say they're ready for what could be a third night of violence, property damage, and arrests. Crowds hitting the streets over a deadly police shooting, reaching another all-time high. The Dow adding 60 points to close at 18,636. You're on the Fox Report. Fair and balanced.
Sometimes what you want most from your car is nothing. No headaches, no surprises, no anxiety when it's late at night and you're on some distant freeway in a thunderstorm. Owning a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz can be that anxiety-free experience on every level. You know you're in one of the safest and most thoughtfully engineered vehicles on the road. And with an unlimited mileage warranty, you can drive as far as you want for up to 3 years, with roadside assistance included. Your sense of confidence and adventure are as unlimited as the warranty itself. Now you can drive the car of your dreams and realize that nothing is everything. And during the certified pre-owned sales event, now through August 31st, you can receive 2 years of complimentary prepaid maintenance and 0.99% APR financing on select models, available through Mercedes-Benz Financial Services. You've waited long enough.
See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for complete details and limitations on certified pre-owned warranties. APR offer available only to qualified customers. Call 1-800-FOR-Mercedes for details about costs and terms.
Late word out of Maryland that a 6th body has been found in the rubble of an apartment complex following last week's explosion and fire. The cause of the blast in Silver Spring still under investigation. A funeral service in New York City for a religious figure and a friend who were gunned down in broad daylight.
Investigators say 55-year-old Malama Akanji, the beloved imam who had just finished Saturday prayers at his mosque, and his friend, 64-year-old Thara Uden, were likely targeted but have not yet determined if this was a hate crime based on their faith.
Fox's Laura Engel, police have detained one man for questioning. As flames engulf their small town in Northern California, residents of Lower Lake are fleeing for their lives.
I don't really care about the house. I don't care about the things. I just want my family.
The fast-moving fire being fueled by gusty winds and high heat.
Heavy smoke turned day into night on Sunday as the fire washed through the town like a river of flame. And for many, there was a sense of deja vu. A Habitat for Humanity office on Main Street, now in rubbles, was helping residents rebuild after a massive fire in this same area last year.
Fox's Claudia Cowan. Don't expect to see Adele belting out songs at the next Super Bowl.
Adele turned down performing at the 2017 Super Bowl, one of the highest profile gigs in the world. Adele told the crowd at her LA show Saturday she was asked to do the Super Bowl halftime show, saying,
I'm not doing the Super Bowl. Well, come on. I mean, come on. That show is not about music, and I don't really I don't dance or anything like that. So they were very kind. They did ask me, but I did say no.
She said maybe she'd do it after completing her next album. Adele's never made it a secret she suffers from a bad case of stage fright.
Fox's Jacqueline Carl, the singing sensation, also squashing rumors that she is pregnant. In New York, I'm Pam Puso on Fox News Radio.
Let's take a look at your Chief Bauer weather forecast. Trust the AC experts at Chief Bauer Service Experts to help keep you cool all summer long. Call 866-EXPERTS or visit chiefbauer.com. I stepped on your line, Lon. I stepped on your line.
Man, these rookies to radio.
I know it,
wait,
man.
You've done this for years.
Yeah, but not that. I stepped on your line.
That's
I feel
right.
bad about that. Let's
Don't
get the
worry.
forecast. Rain, lots of rain here tonight. Continued down to 65 for the low. Tomorrow a high of 80 degrees with a chance of more showers and thunderstorms. Sunshine on Wednesday and a high of 85 degrees.
Nice. All right. It is the Tay and J Show, Hour 2. Lante, Brian Moline filling in today for Jeremy Warner, who's still doing the dad thing, the proud father thing, and also Mike Carpenter, who is in Wisconsin doing some vacation. So, Brian, really appreciate you stepping in right now at the other microphone, making his debut on the Tay and J Show. I didn't realize this. I thought we had you on via phone, but we hadn't, and I blame Jeremy Warner for that. It's Craig Choate. Am I saying that right?
It's actually a funny story.
Is it Choate?
I go with Choate. I think it's easier to say Choate.
Okay.
But it is Choate.
Choate.
It is Choate.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you go with Choate.
On air, I just go with Choate. I think it rolls off better. So.
See, my last name is actually Robinson, but I go with Tay.
Tay, yeah.
No, I don't do that.
Any relation to Randy?
No.
Good call.
Hey, when he was with the Cardinals, I used to call him Uncle Randy.
Uncle Randy.
There is no relation.
That is fantastic.
I had to ask, you're wearing the Cardinals hats, I
listened in earlier. You got the Cardinal fan and you're the Cub fan.
Yes.
So I figured that we need the advantage here. So.
Amen.
You'll take all the help you can get.
Did you notice I make Brian stare at the league champion 2013 sign as he sits there? I could have easily put you over there, but then you'd have to stare at the Matt Carpenter jersey. So we got you covered here on the
you guys are sorely lacking the Cubs.
We really are.
Paraphernalia
we always invite any Cub fan if they want to bring in some Cub memorabilia or anything, but they don't. Well, we got the little Cub hat over there, the old Dairy Queen. Get a sundae out of the Dairy Queen.
Yeah, those have shrunk over the years. When I was a kid, they were about twice that big.
It seemed like it.
Yeah, I remember going to the A&W with my grandpa to get the. I think one year they had like the fries, sort of the French fries in the plastic cap. I had all of those.
Did you have every team?
I had every one.
How cool is that? Did they randomly give them to you, or could you request like the Oakland A's since you didn't have them?
I think they did it like a week by week thing.
Oh, okay.
Where they had each week they had like two different ones available.
Sweet.
And now I had multiples of a couple of them, including the no longer existing Montreal Expos.
Oh yeah. That's a keepsake, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's some and of course you had Grandpa there to spoil you, taking
absolutely.
You every time. You got to love that. Well, Craig Choate's joining us, Channel 3 Sports, of course. Craig, I forgot you hadn't been on with us. I thought we'd had you on via that. Give us a little background on Craig.
Born and raised in Southern Illinois.
Okay, what town?
Pinckneyville, Illinois.
That's right.
If you know high school basketball, you probably know Pinckneyville.
Yes.
I'm a proud Panther, played basketball there.
Tell me Dick Korn is not still coaching.
No, his actually my senior year of high school, the 07-08
wow.
School year was his first not the coach. So
okay.
06-07 was his last year as the head coach. Played basketball and golf down in Pinckneyville. Went to Ren Lake College for a year and then to SIUC.
Yeah, baby.
Go Dogs.
The Dogs.
I went there, and then I also followed in Lon's footsteps once again.
You did?
And started at WSIL TV.
Working with Darren Kennard.
Darren Kennard, yeah. I was there for, I think, 3 years.
Awesome.
Yeah, then I started up here last August. So
that's wow.
Coming up on a year.
You're right. And the whole Channel 3 thing, like I don't even want to mention Aaron Bennett's name because he's a news guy now.
Yeah, he crossed over.
Way to go, Aaron.
Yeah.
But now you've got you and Brett.
Yep, me and Brett.
And then who's the third member?
Anise McEwen is her name.
McEwen.
Yeah, she's been here. She got here at the end of May, and she's learning the Illini way. And
she is a happy person.
She is. She's really good.
And she's good. I mean, all three of you guys do a great job, but when I watch her, I'm like, man, she is happy.
Yeah.
It just makes you happy. I love that. I love doing stuff like that. Yeah. Well, Craig's, I invited you today. We were talking yesterday at Illinois Football Media Day because we can cover just a bunch of different things with you. Let's start with that, with Illinois football. Halfway through training camp, I assume you've been out there with your eyes and your camera a few times. What is your kind of your thoughts, I guess, halfway through camp right now with Lovie Smith and this crew?
Defensive line. They have been impressive.
Yeah.
I haven't been out there a lot. I did go to the first day, and then I had a week of vacation.
Oh,
so
well, good for you.
I've been out there 4 or 5 times, but the defensive line, I mean, they're just getting to Wes quite a bit. Obviously not anything serious, but they're getting to him. The wide receivers, I think, have some young talent.
That's good.
The drops last year were just catastrophic. I know Robert Rosenthal from Illini Board put his whole stats together. I don't remember them, but as the number of first downs that were lost because of drop passes were just astronomical.
Wow.
So I could see some improvement there. And then the running back situation, I guess you call it. You got Keyshawn Vaughn. He could be a workhorse.
Yeah.
I think he can get out in space. He can run between the tackles. After that, some question marks.
It really is.
We've been touched on that for months now, obviously. But yeah, I think it's the obvious stuff that's sticking out so far. And like Lovie said yesterday, he gave us generic answers because they're just kind of doing generic stuff right now. They're still trying to learn what this team is, what this team can be, and who's going to fit where. So they haven't really got anything set in stone, but it's obviously a defensive-led team.
Without a doubt. Craig Choate, our guest here, I was going to say on the Jupiter's the Crossing phone line, but you're actually across from me. So you're actually on a microphone. Brian Moline as well filling in today for Jeremy Warner and Mike Carpenter. Isn't it funny, and I'll start with you, Brian, isn't it funny that and I told Warner, I said, I'm done saying if Keyshawn Vaughn stays healthy. I'm done with that. I'm just going to assume everybody stays healthy because I'm tired of stinking talking about it. I hate injuries.
Yeah.
And I know you have to. I understand they happen, and that would be that would be huge. I mean, if Wes went down, it'd be even bigger. Yeah. But if you lose Keyshawn Vaughn, you probably then have to turn into more of a passing game. But it is funny, Brian, when you worry. Like Illinois fans, the last couple of years with injuries, we worry now that there's no way Keyshawn gets through a whole season healthy.
Well, yeah.
Because Josh Ferguson couldn't. I mean, it stinks that we worry about that.
Yeah, and it stinks, but that's the problem when you have a team like Illinois has the last couple of years where there's some pretty good first-line talent.
Great point.
But they just have not been able to stack up the recruiting classes over the last several years where you feel good about quality backups at a lot of positions. We talked a little bit, I think, offensive line, you'd feel okay if you sustained an injury here or there. There are some guys who could step in. On the defensive line, you've got some depth. A guy could step in and make some plays. But there are other positions, running back, quarterback, secondary. There are other positions where you just don't know. There's a lot of unproven guys in those backup spots, and that's what the worry is, and that's what I think Illinois fans are going to be looking for in the recruiting front the next few years is just to kind of start stacking some classes so where you feel like, all right, we have some quality depth. You have a really good 2-deep. It's not just the starters. You have a really good 2-deep roster.
I thought Beckman, if there's one good thing I would say about him, is that it seemed as though he did build some depth on this team, although you look at next year's class next year you're going to be not very good. I mean, you lose all that defensive line. You hope guys like Jamal Milan can absolutely stay. You almost wish like a Jamel President would come next year instead of this year. But, you got to take advantage of that. So, Craig, I'll ask you, besides the line, which we all know, I think, we all assume will step up, who's one guy or maybe a couple in the linebacker and defensive back safety area that you're kind of counting on to have a big season, and you hope? I mean, it seems like Jalen Dunlap's looked good early. You got a guy like Taylor Barton who's back as a veteran that you have to kind of replace or help out in that safety role. Who's somebody you're kind of really looking forward to, and maybe a surprise name that Illini fans might be interested in?
The two names you mentioned are the guys. I mean, they have to be the guys. Taylor Barton, Lovey raved about him yesterday, about the leadership role that he's taken on. We talked to him about that, and he's like, well, right now we're all just kind of doing the same thing. We're all kind of learning it, but I have the end game where nobody else has the end game. So that's where he's going to help. Jalen Dunlap at the night practice on Saturday, he got jolly with the receiving corps.
Nice.
I was sitting on the sideline, and I'm like, he's a big dude.
He's big.
He's got that long hair. I'm like, did Peanut Tillman stay in Champaign? Is that Peanut?
He is a big dude.
But yeah, he's a big dude, and he's got that attitude that Illini that takes charge.
Yeah,
kind of like I don't want to compare him to Darrell Revis, but
right?
You're almost scared to go up against him, so you need him to rub off on some other guys.
Yeah,
Caleb Day, I think he's probably going to play in the secondary. He's got to step up. Linebackers, I mean, it's going to be Hardy Nickerson.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Julian Jones, Trey
Watson. Dele Hardy, the freshman. Like I said, I haven't seen a whole lot of practice, but what I've seen, I've liked. He's a young guy. I remember when he committed, a lot of people were saying he was the guy of that class because he's a former Michigan commit. So if you're going to play Michigan, you should be pretty good.
Agree.
So those are some guys. I don't know that he starts. He's a depth guy that you need, and maybe a special teams guy. But I think he could contribute.
How about wide receiver-wise? And you talk about injuries, and that stinks with Mikey Dudek, who is yoked.
Yeah.
That kid walking through yesterday. Jeremy keeps talking about how muscular he is, and he walked by me. I thought he was one of those statues they have over there with the uniforms on. I'm like, dang, Dudek.
Yeah.
I mean, he is yoked.
Yeah.
But he's, who knows if he'll be back.
Right.
And hopefully he will be. And I think he's the kind of kid that if he gets cleared, he's going to play this year. I don't think there's any doubt, right, that he's going to try to just get another year of eligibility. I think he wants to get out there and play. Right. But what have you seen so far with the Malik Turners and the Sam Mays and some of those guys, the Justin Hardys that need to make an impact? Will they be good enough? I won't even ask about the drops. I hope that they don't. I was going to bring that up with Lovey yesterday. I'm like, nope. I don't even want to think about the drops. And I bet that's what he would have probably told me.
Right.
What do you think? Can those guys make enough impact to where if you're getting a good workload out of Keyshawn Vaughn every game, these guys can do enough to get you some victories?
I think Justin Hardy can do that.
Okay.
I think he is the number one, obviously. He made a spectacular catch on the sideline of the Saturday night practice. Okay. They called it out of bounds. I got it on video. It's close. He probably was, but it was an impressive catch. Yeah. He can go up and he can get it. Malik Turner has to improve. He was good last year. He's got to improve. Desmond Kane.
Oh, I forgot about Desmond. Right.
Des Kane. He's got to keep it up. The guy that I'm interested in, his name's Dominique Thiemann.
That's a freshman,
St. Thomas Aquinas. He's a 2-star out of St. Thomas Aquinas, freshman in Florida. He was the 5th best receiver on his high school team.
Wow.
Yeah. He was the one breaking all the records because everybody's
playing at Illinois.
Yeah, exactly. We talked to him at Media Day. I don't know if anybody else got the chance to. He was impressive in the interview, too. Awesome. He's got a head on his shoulders. He's a big dude. He's probably 6'3", 6'4". If he doesn't redshirt or if he plays, I think he can contribute.
Okay.
Another guy on the receiving corps, MJ McGriff. He got a little dinged up on Friday at practice, so he sat out Saturday. Reminds me of Tavon Austin.
Oh.
He's a small dude, height-wise and weight-wise.
Right.
And I also talked to him at Media Day, and he likes to compare his game to Tavon Austin.
Oh, wow.
So I could see if Lovey wants to or Garrick wants to, some sweeps from the receiving line. I really like what he could bring to the Illini and to the receiving corps.
So, Craig, just watching this coaching staff working with this team with a lot of unproven guys, what stands out to you as far as how this coaching staff style? How do they interact with the guys?
I think you're going to listen to Lovey Smith anytime he talks to you. I think that's the thing, is that they're listening, they're buying in, that Lovey's got his background. He knows what he's doing, and I think that's going to resonate with these kids. Not saying that Cubitt and those guys didn't.
Right.
They were good coaches. They knew what they were doing, but Lovey Smith just brings something extra. And not only Lovey, but Garrick McGee and Hardy Nickerson. Yeah. All these guys are pretty much all have pro experience. And that's where all these Illinois kids want to get to, is the pros. So they're going to listen to pretty much whatever these coaches say.
every year you look at a schedule and you kind of pick out big games. And Jeremy and Carp and I were doing that one day, and I think, and I even the smiles I got from the football guys yesterday, the players, when I would say, "Man, that night game against Carolina," and that you just did it, correct? I mean, it's that. Oh, I can't wait. Not that Murray State won't be a fun game, and they're not looking past the Racers, but I am.
Yeah,
and I can do that as a fan.
That's my dad's alma mater. So
is it really? Yeah, down in Paducah.
Yeah.
But there's always a couple of games. Obviously, the Carolina game is one that you kind of can measure yourself because that's a good team coming back, a top 20 team. What are some other games that you look at in this schedule for both of you guys? And here's the schedule if you need it. What are some other games that maybe you look at and think, all right, this is a game that could get them to 6, get them, I say 7. Jeremy kind of scowls at me when I do that. I mean, it'd be great, but I'll be happy with 6. I'll put it that way.
Right. You want to go first?
I would say this, that first Big Ten game at Nebraska, because Nebraska last year was a 5-7 team.
Mm-hmm.
They ended up going to a bowl game, as we all know, but they were a 5-7 team.
And they were close. They were within 7 games within a touchdown.
That's right. Yeah, and that's a game Illinois stole from them last year here. Down 13-0 forever it seemed like, and then boom, 2 touchdowns at the end, and you win the game. That will be, I think, an interesting game because you got Mike Riley, who, if things don't get off to a good start out in Nebraska, might start to feel a little bit of pressure out there. The Cornhuskers have pretty high expectations for their football program. Sure. So if Illinois comes in, if they can go into that game, 2-1, 3-0, if they get that North Carolina game. That Nebraska game to me is a big one to kind of set the tone. That's one that you don't necessarily expect to win, but it's a winnable game, I think, based on what I see from the teams in the preseason.
Yeah, I think really any of the road games.
Yeah, especially the Rutgers one. The Rutgers
that's the
game.
One I was going to get to is because that is a winnable, very winnable road game. I took a look earlier this morning at the schedule. I hadn't really dissected it too much until now. I think you need 4 of the first 6.
Okay.
Where they come from, I don't know.
It
doesn't matter, but I think you need 4 of the first 6 because you got to go to the Big House.
Right.
You got to go to Wisconsin.
Ooh.
So I think you have to get 4 if you want 6 wins on the year.
And isn't it funny that Illinois played so well last year at Iowa?
Yeah.
That it almost, and we were there. We took our show on the road, did our show in Ames, Iowa, had a great time. I think we're going to maybe do that this year in Evanston. Man, that'll be cold. We'll have to be inside on that one. I'm a wimp. But they were so encouraging against Iowa that it makes me feel like, we can get Iowa this year, but you've got Beathard back at quarterback, the stud defensive back, and Brian, I know you're an Iowa guy. You're from Iowa, so you're going to know all about the Hawkeyes. Yeah. They've got is it King?
Desmond King. Yeah.
Desmond King, who we all wanted him to go pro. It's like, please go pro. I think he could be the best defensive back, obviously in the Big Ten. But because of last year's game, Brian, you feel like, we maybe could hang with Iowa, but we maybe shouldn't think that.
The thing about Iowa is that the way they play, they're pretty vanilla, really, for the most part. They're pro-style offense. They're a very simple scheme defensively. They do what they do, and they think they can do it better than you do.
They just wear you out.
And so that type of style, if you don't make a lot of mistakes, they're not going to blow you out, typically.
Fair enough.
If you don't make a lot of mistakes. And Illinois didn't make a lot of mistakes in last year's game up there. They played a pretty good football game, and as a result, they were in it the whole way. If you can play Iowa without turning the ball over, without really missing a lot of assignments, staying in your gaps defensively, you can hang with Iowa. They're not going to blow you away in a lot of aspects.
Fair enough.
I kind of feel like that's what Lovey wants the Illini to be.
Yeah, good
call. Run team, control the ball, force turnovers. I don't think a Lovie Smith team is going to blow you out. I think Illinois in the future could be what Iowa was last year.
Boy, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
Right.
Wouldn't it?
Big Ten championship
you sit
game.
Here and I think when I was young, and Brian, I know you're not that much younger than me, so we're in the kind of the same like
ballpark.
You said, stratosphere. Craig, on the other hand,
just a kid.
My goodness. But Wisconsin football, believe it or not, was not that good back in the day. And then Barry Alvarez came, and they hung with him, hung tight, held on to him, and said, we believe in you. And by, I think, year 4, he was in a Rose Bowl, and everything took off, and now you still see Wisconsin like they are. And you see this with Iowa. Hayden Fry obviously did a great job to get that. I'm not as familiar. I'm sure. I think Iowa's always been steady.
Before Fry took over, they had a very dark period of about 20 years.
And it seems like almost for Illinois, I mean, I don't know if you'd call it dark periods when you accidentally, and I don't want to say accidentally, but all of a sudden you're in the Rose Bowl, and then you're in the Sugar Bowl, and then you go through some bad years, and then all of a sudden you're back in the Rose Bowl. It's like, what in the world? So, I mean, there's just the I think that's the hardest part for me, and that's the thing that I look forward to the most, is if Lovie can be here 5 or 6 years and keep going strong. I mean, he looks like a young man. He's in shape. Hopefully he'll just enjoy doing what he's doing, and he's coaches here for 10 years. But if he could build this program to the consistent level where Illinois is winning 6, 7, 8 games a year, I can't even imagine that as a former Illini fan, but that's kind of what they're shooting for, isn't it?
Yeah, he said at Big Ten Media Day, he said, this is the 4th quarter of my career.
Awesome.
He said, I'm not done with the game yet,
right,
but I'm at the start of my 4th quarter of my career. And when he took the job, he said, I don't know if he said word for word that he hopes this is his last job, but he said he signed a 6-year deal because he wants to be here.
Awesome.
So if he can be here and he can relay to recruits that he's going to be here, with Lovie Smith, you can develop that consistency.
You surely can. All right, Brian Moline is my guest today, filling in for Warner and Mike Carpenter, just a couple losers that don't care about their job. Oh, wait, I guess Jeremy had a baby and Carpenter's on a family vacation. I probably shouldn't say that about him on air. And then Craig Choate's our guest. Can you sit through one more?
Yeah, I can.
Well, when I want to ask you about the basketball side of things, because Illinois just kind of got a little bit of some shocking news on Jordan Goodwin. And then is it unity or bust with regards to a state title around here? I want to ask you that as well with regards to football. So if you want to weigh in, if you've got a question for either Brian Moline or Craig Choate, you can text us on the Chief Bauer text line. I know nobody wants to ask me a question, so I never ask. It's 359-2255. That's 217-359-2255. That's also the Jupiters at the Crossing phone line. When we come back, we'll get an update from Nathan DeSutter and then some Illinois basketball and high school football chatter. We'll do it next. It's the Tay and J Show.
Guidance, trust, protection, service. It's the mantra of GTPS Insurance. Finding the perfect solution for you, guiding you through the options, helping you through a claim, and adapting to your evolving needs. Since 1997, GTPS Insurance has provided coverage for your car, your home, your business, and your life. As an independent broker, GTPS Insurance Agency will shop around until they find the right coverage at the best price. Contact a GTPS Insurance agent today at 359-9000 or visit online at GTPSinsurance.com.
An ESPN Radio Mike and Mike Extra Point.
How good a goalkeeper is Hope Solo? Because I can't think of another world-class international athlete who has done more things over the course of time to embarrass herself, embarrass her team with calling the team that beats them cowards and everything else, and then trying to explain it away with an excuse that I generally detest in sports, which is, I'm just really bad at losing. I don't know if you saw that tweet from her.
Yeah, I did.
But I'm just really bad at losing. A lot of people are bad at losing.
Nobody likes to lose.
Don't we have anyone else who can play that position? I get that Hope Solo became a star and she was on Dancing with the Stars and all that kind of stuff. But she has just candidly done one thing after another to embarrass herself and her team, and yet they continue to run her out there.
Hear more from Mike and Mike tomorrow morning on ESPN Radio.
QL1, you've been talking a lot about Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans lately. What would you say is the best reason to use it? It's easy to use. You can get approved in minutes. It's convenient. Hey, QL1, I asked for the best reason. Oh, hold on. I wasn't finished. You can share your pay stubs and bank statements at the touch of a button so you get real numbers, not estimates. And 3, 2, 1. Rocket Mortgage at QuickenLoans.com. Push button, get mortgage.
Rocket.
Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
It starts with the tires. Add in the pilots.
San Francisco Tower, clear to land on 29er right.
Flight 232, clear to land 29er right.
150 sleepy passengers homeward bound. Descending through the clouds, flaps full, gear down. Runway in sight, where the rubber meets the road. And touching down. Those Goodyear tires. Everything we learn making tires for commercial airliners inspires what we roll into yours. Go to Goodyear.com to find the right tire in store for you. Goodyear, more driven.
None of us can predict the future, but that doesn't mean we can't prepare for it. How will your family survive when you're gone? And how do you know if you have enough life insurance? Beacon Insurance makes it easy with their convenient life insurance calculator. Visit www.beaconinsurance.com/life calculator. Then talk to your local independent Beacon Insurance agency about a life insurance policy that will give you peace of mind and keep your family financially stable in the future. Life insurance from Beacon Insurance always goes beyond the expected.
From executive producer LeBron James.
I need this, like yesterday.
Cleveland entrepreneurs get a chance to compete for their shot at success.
That will be a game changer for me and our business.
I believe your hustle is going to make this happen. We got work to do now.
It's hard work, but it's totally worth it.
Cleveland Hustles. Premiere episodes Wednesdays at 10.
Everybody can have great ideas, but do you have what it takes in here?
Only on CNBC.
Time for the update. Illini football, two big commits over the weekend, and they're both Missouri products and were big targets for Mizzou. Three-star cornerback Tony Adams and three-star offensive lineman Larry Boyd. After losing to SLU in the state of Missouri late last week with a Jordan Goodwin commitment, it feels really good to win one. MLB, all the local teams have off days today, but that doesn't mean we don't have storylines. After suffering a tragic defeat at the hands of the rival Redbirds, the Cubs are now only 12 games up in the division. According to Twitter last night, all is lost and the season is really kind of over. Well, that's not entirely true. They start a 4-game series, which includes Tuesday doubleheader with the talent strip Brewers. Game 1 is tomorrow afternoon. Trevor Cahill versus former Cub Matt Garza. Off the field, the Cubs fired the Wrigley Field DJ after closer Aroldis Chapman exited the mound following a scoreless 9th inning. The DJ played the song "Smack My B Up" by the British band Prodigy. Due to Chapman's controversial background with domestic violence, you can imagine why there was such an outrage. The Cubs called it an irresponsible music selection. Injury news, John Lackey had to leave mid-batter in last night's game with a stiff shoulder. After the game, he said he was okay, and the removal was just the result of being cautious. With last night's comeback win, the Cardinals improved to 62-56 and stayed half game up on the Marlins for the second wild card spot. The Dodgers have a 3.5 game lead for the first wild card spot with a 65-52 record. It's sad news, but good news for the Cardinals' playoff chances. Marlins slugger Giancarlo Stanton is out for the rest of the season with a groin injury. The White Sox just finished taking 2 of 3 from the Marlins and will head to LeBron's land to take on the Indians. Game 1 tomorrow is a matchup of impressive young arms, potential Cy Young candidates, Jose Quintana versus Corey Kluber. Quintana 9-8 with a 285, Kluber 12-8 with a 321. Olympic gymnastics, Simone Biles' quest for an all-gold Olympics is over. She received bronze in the vault. Teammate Lori Hernandez earned silver in football. The Bears and Pats are having co-training camp this week. First day, fists were flying. Alshon Jeffrey and Malcolm Butler got into a fight. 430 Sports Center, I'm Nate DeSutter.
Well done, Nathan. Hey, I want to tell you about Bunny's Tavern. Great specials every Monday for lunch. Grab a breaded chicken breast on fresh baked biscuits with 2 strips of bacon. Oh, bacon. I had bacon this morning. Yeah! And a slice of melted cheddar cheese, your choice of mashed potatoes or cheesy grits. And for dinner tonight at Bunny's Tavern, stop in for the Philly cheesesteak sandwich, grilled peppers, onions, provolone. It's all made fresh to order. Hey, it's Monday. Might as well have a beer. How about a $1.75 pint of PBR, $3.75 Jameson's. Bunny's, it's open all day, every day, even through the holidays. Bunny's Tavern, it's the best kept secret in downtown Urbana. All right, it's the Tay and J Show, ESPN Radio 93.5. Lante, Brian Moline.
Yes, sir.
Filling in for Carp and Warner. Jeremy Warner is going to join us at 5:25. And Craig Choate on the third microphone, WCIA 3 Sports. Always welcome to have Craig in. His initial debut.
Am I doing okay?
You're doing great.
Okay.
And I love the fact that you wore the America shirt, although it says United States of America.
States, yeah.
Let's talk Olympics real quick.
Yeah.
Is this just not fun to watch? The dominant. I'm not a huge Olympic guy. I'm not going to, but every 4 years, it comes around, and well, I guess every 2 now, right? With the winter and summer. But you see the domination of a Michael Phelps. I don't even know how to put him into words. You see a Katie Ledecky and what she's done. You see, I know I'm missing people. Usain Bolt with what he did. I mean, Brian, what has caught your eye? And then the gymnasts. I haven't even mentioned. Oh, by the way, the gymnasts that are just unbelievable. What's caught your eye the most about these Olympics, minus the beach volleyball?
I was just going to say, am I a bad person if I say beach volleyball?
Absolutely not. That's must-see TV for Lon.
Well, and in fact, over the weekend, I watched some of the indoor volleyball. The U.S. was playing China in their final pool match. And, I used to cover Illinois volleyball on occasion. I did some play-by-play filling in for Dave Lowen on occasion for that.
Tremendous.
And seeing, at the NCAA level, it's a very good sport. I mean, it's fast-moving, it's fast-paced. To see it at the next level, at the Olympic level.
Unbelievable.
And there were some former Penn State players, former Nebraska players that I called matches for, seeing them playing at the Olympic level now and just seeing their games even that much better. Just the athleticism, how fast the game moves, the power.
Yeah.
When those ladies get into one on the outside,
oh my goodness!
I would not. You couldn't pay me to stand in front of one of those, try and dig that out.
Dig.
No.
How about Usain Bolt? Not only are you just unbelievable, but at the end, he just kind of looks over.
Is there anybody here?
Yeah, I mean, Craig, that guy is. I know I've seen some great runners and sprinters in the past. We've seen a lot of them, but Usain Bolt, he's 6'5".
Yeah.
And he runs like that. It's just unbelievable to watch.
Yeah. Can you imagine calling yourself the fastest man in the world?
No, that'd be cool.
How cool would that be?
And not even close.
No.
Nobody's even close to you.
Well, halfway through that final last night, was it last night?
Yeah.
Yeah, halfway through that final last night, I was like, oh, he's going to get beat. I know. And then the last 40 meters, he just flies by everybody. It blows my mind.
It does. It does.
The acceleration and just the top end speed he has. I mean, because can you imagine what his time would be if he had good starts?
Right. He never does.
He never gets off the blocks. Never. Right. Yeah. He's always coming from behind every time.
Well, when you're 6'5", it's hard to get your body going,
that's
right?
True. Yeah. That's true.
I mean, that's the one thing, I guess, that the good Lord said, I'm going to give you height. You're not going to be a good starter. But as soon as you get up to speed, you're going to blow everybody away. Yeah. Michael Phelps, how do you even explain a guy like that? Unbelievable, isn't it?
I don't think you can.
Well, especially when you thought he was pretty well done.
Yeah. Right.
After the last Olympics, he had a good Olympics in 2012, but the kind of the dominance had been chipped away at a little bit, and then he had some out of the pool issues, and he basically you thought he was done, and then he decided, all right, you know what, I'm going to make one more run at this. Just put everything he had into it. For him to come out and have the Olympics he had, winning 4 or 5 more gold medals, just unbelievable.
I love that picture of him and Katie Ledecky from 10 years ago. That's so cool.
Yes.
How everything comes full circle.
She was just
she was 9 at the
9
time.
years old. I was about ready to say 4th grade.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me when I look at guys like Usain Bolt, Michael Phelps. They've got my body. Wow, there's just a lot of silence in there. All right, maybe
I don't know what to say to that, Lon.
Okay, maybe they don't. All right, last one in the Olympics, and we're going to move to Illinois basketball.
Yep.
What's up with our men's basketball team winning by 2 points against France or whatever?
They're just keeping it interesting.
Is that what it is?
Keeping the ratings. I think they're just entertaining themselves.
Yeah.
At least I kind of hope that's what they're doing, because if they're doing that in the middle round, they're probably going to get beat. They could have a flame out like they did at the World Championships. What was it, 10, 12 years ago?
Oh boy, that's not going to happen, is it, Craig? I mean, they'll win.
I don't think so.
I don't either. Right?
You have 12-man roster, 12 of the top players in the NBA, which is the premier basketball. I mean, I don't think there's any way they can
I don't either. Of course, LeBron's not there.
He's not there.
But when you still have Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving.
It just means KD, Draymond, and Clay can't play together.
No. Right? So maybe the NBA
maybe the Warriors should be worried.
Wow. Maybe it'll be a little more interesting than we think next year in the NBA. Brian Moline is a guest, and also Craig Choate, Channel 3 Sports. Let's get to Illinois basketball. Why did SLU beat Illinois out, Craig, for a basketball recruit? How does that even happen?
Initially, I was in shock.
Mm-hmm.
And then I took a look, and it's Travis Ford. He gets recruits. He got Juwan Evans from Illinois. Illinois was hard on Juwan, and he stole Juwan Evans. He's one of those coaches that gets recruits, and he's not particularly called a good X's and O's coach. So there's a few factors. One of my good friends played basketball at SLU, so I went to a lot of games under the Rick Majerus era.
Right.
And when they were good, when they were ranked, people packed that place.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is a program that can be successful.
Mm-hmm.
So if Travis Ford gets a few more of these guys, they could be back in the top 25. They made a Sweet 16 a few years ago. So they're not as bad of a program, I don't think, as people thought.
Yeah.
And they're close to home.
Right.
Close to home for him. And I think he got more playing time there, too, which seems like something that he wanted. So that's my take.
Could John Gross, Brian, have done anything more?
Not that I can think of. I mean, he was in on Goodwin as early as you can be. He was on him the whole time, and he got Tillman, who's a good friend of his. It just didn't work out. And another thing about SLU, I lived in St. Louis for a couple of years right out of college, and that was when Larry Hughes was there. That's the last top-notch basketball recruit that St. Louis got. That was when Charlie Spoonhour was the coach, I believe.
Spoon.
And I remember back then too that when SLU had Larry Hughes, and it was an event to go to a SLU game.
Right.
And the other thing about that, St. Louis is still a very Catholic town.
Right.
St. Louis is a Catholic university.
Good call.
So I think when there is something like that at SLU, people will kind of rally around it, even though they didn't go to school there. And they still feel like it's kind of like their school. Kind of like there's a lot of people in East Central Illinois. He didn't go to Illinois, but it's
like me.
Yeah, it's the state school, so you're a fan of Illinois.
Absolutely. Craig, this makes Trent Frazier a must, doesn't it?
Yeah, I would think so.
And he's coming up this weekend. What can you tell us about that visit?
I mean,
do you know where they're going to eat? Do you know? No.
I don't have that.
You don't have that schedule.
Ribeye, Alexander's. Those name all the steakhouses we could think of.
Right.
Whatever John Gross can get is what he needs to get.
Exactly.
Because I'm sure you've heard before that Goodwin plays a position Illinois could afford to miss on.
Right. True.
Frazier doesn't.
No.
They need point guards.
Mm-hmm.
So this weekend is big for John Gross. A commit, and obviously, I don't know about this weekend, but getting Trent Frazier would be almost, I don't want to say better, but a better situation almost for Illinois.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's tricky because I think we all understand. I kind of got yelled at by a listener the other day that they're like, I don't think you understand the impact that Goodwin would have had. I'm like, no, I think I do understand.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying Frazier would have that kind of a on-the-court kind of impact because, Jordan Goodwin just won't let you lose, it seems like. I've never seen any of his games, but I've seen highlights. Well, I have seen games. I watched on TV.
Right.
But Trent Frazier, like you said, is a spot. You needed Tillman. You needed a big man.
Yep.
You need another point guard.
Yep.
Frazier could add that, and I think he could play alongside Tijon Lucas really well.
Yeah, I've seen Tijon play. I've seen Goodwin play. I haven't seen Frazier play. Tijon's a good point guard.
Okay.
He can score the ball. He can be a facilitator. When he played in Champaign last year, and he got hurt, I was at that game, and he looked good. I think he scored 25 points, almost had 10 assists, and he missed almost the whole fourth quarter.
Wow.
So, and the big thing for him is having Tracy to groom him, I think. I think Tracy will really help Tijon, Tracy Abrams, that is, really help Tijon kind of grow into the point guard that Illinois needs because Illinois needs Tracy Abrams.
I want to ask Brian Moline. What are you expecting out of Tracy Abrams this year? We can't expect. You know what he's going to bring to the table with regards to leadership, toughness, but the Tracy we remember, is that what we're going to get? Let's say he's healthy. What would you expect out of him?
I honestly, I don't know how to answer that, Lon, because even if he's, quote, 100% healthy, does he have the same spring in his step? Does he have the same first step, whether it be on offense or defense? Is he going to be the same on-the-ball defender he was before he got hurt? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because we don't get to see these guys practice, really, so it's hard for me to say what he's going to be like on the court. Now, he's certainly a veteran presence. He's going to have those leadership attributes. Certainly he'll have that.
Sure.
As far as what he's going to bring, during his time out, how has he been able to work on his shooting?
Right.
Because that was always the weakness for Tracy.
It was.
The outside shot was never his strength. Has he been able to work on that? It's been so long since he's played.
You almost forget what you do, right?
Yeah, he was pretty good off the dribble. Could get in the lane. Sometimes had trouble finishing around big guys.
Agree.
Didn't have the outside shot, but he just had that kind of that grit.
Yeah.
Hard-nosed player. Good defender. Is he that? Is he a little less? Is he a little more? I don't know.
Be interesting. And the other thing that's interesting, too, is, he's so much older and experienced, and that means a lot at that age. You go from 19 years old to 22. I know you don't think you've matured that much, but you have. And that's something that I think he could really help with this team. Not only him, but Mike Thorne. I'll ask both of you guys, Craig Choate, Channel 3 Sports, and Brian Moline, who's filling in for me today, WILL Morning Edition. What are you expecting from this team this year? I'll start with you, Brian. Is this an NCAA tournament? I mean, it almost has to be.
Yeah, I think it needs to be. This team, I think, has similar talent to last year's team. Certainly last year's team got hurt a lot by injuries and got hurt a lot by off-the-court stuff. Number one, you can't have any more off-the-court distractions, any more off-the-court incidents for this year's team. You just can't have it anymore. And I think John Gross knows that. I think the players know that now, that anything that happens there, you're probably in kind of a no-tolerance situation almost right now with a lot of that, just because of everything that's happened.
Agree.
And so that's number one. And then number two, on the court, this team really does need to get to the NCAA tournament. You know, they've got a guy like Malcolm Hill, who's an all Big Ten caliber player, to kind of lead the way. You've got a Mike Thorne who can give you some post presence down low. And then you add in some other guys like a Tracy Abrams, like a Jalen Coleman-Lands, like a Michael Finke, who can give you some offense as well.
Mav Morgan this year should be really good if he continues to develop like he did last year.
Yeah, that's right. Mav and Thorne should be a pretty good post combination.
Agree.
We're not quite talking Purdue level there, but you're talking a good post combination. I think that can at least hang with teams like that.
And you've got a Finke and LaRon Black. I mean, you get LaRon Black back. And again, I'm not even saying it. I'm not even worrying about health. I'm not. They're all going to be healthy this year. We deserve that. I mean, Craig, I think this could be a team that is better than even I think.
Yeah. I think so, too. I think, I agree, it's NCAA tournament team. I 100% agree with that. We've been talking about a few things that we haven't been able to talk about. It's depth.
Yeah,
They have depth this year. John Gross has flexibility to do a couple different things with the starting lineup. You can go big. You can go small. You can go with shooters. You can go with post. I mean, he's got the flexibility. He has the team. So I think this is an NCAA tournament or bust. And I think potentially with Malcolm Hill, you could make a deep run. I'm not saying how far.
Well, right.
But you could make a deep run.
Win a game or two. That'd be nice. I mean, it'd be nice to. Last question on Illinois, then we'll flip to high school football real quick. Craig, Malcolm Hill, you mentioned him, Brian. I mean, this is a guy that could be first team All Big Ten. Probably should be. It's just amazing how far he's come. And not that he was bad when he started, but how far he's been able to come. And, Craig, I'll start with you. Just the fact that, I mean, this guy, and what's cool about him, he came in our studio the other day and he was talking, he's like, a couple months ago maybe, and he's like, the best game we played last year was whatever, and I think it was Georgia Tech maybe or some. No, it was a team that went to, it doesn't matter, UAB is what it was. And he said, that was our best game and I scored like 9 points.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing about Malcolm. I don't think he can get his stats. He can triple double probably if he needed to, or at the very least lead the team in every stat category if he wanted. But I think for him, he just wants to win. And it would be sad to see him leave Illinois and not get to that NCAA tournament.
Yeah, right. He hasn't been to the NCAA tournament. He's an all Big Ten player. I mean, that's what he needs to leave his legacy. To cement his legacy at Illinois, he needs an NCAA tournament appearance. And like you said, he doesn't have to score to get there because they have so much talent this year. Last year, he went on that run where he scored in double digits. I forgot how many straight games. And then there was that one game he only scored like 2 or 4. And everybody's like, oh, what happened? What happened? Like, I don't have to score all the time. I know we got beat. We played decent, but he's just so versatile, and that's exactly what Illinois needs because they need flexibility, because they need depth. He played a lot of point guard last year.
Yes.
So, I mean, I think Gross said he played all 5 positions at one point in the year last year.
It's crazy.
So, I mean, that's what he can do, though.
And, Brian, you've seen him. I mean, he's a guy that did a lot of the post games. You saw him. You've seen him develop. What a great young man, by the way. But you've seen him develop, too. How big of his senior year do you think he can have?
I think he can have a huge senior year. I think, like I said off the top, I think he's an all Big Ten caliber player. When you got a 14-team conference, who knows if it'll be first team or second team or whatever. There's so many good players in the league. But the other thing to keep in mind about Malcolm is when he came to Illinois, he was a very young freshman. I think he was 17 years old when he started school. He didn't turn 18 until a little while into the school year. So for him, the maturing process maybe happened even a little slower than with some other guys, just because he was a younger guy coming in. So I think that's why you're kind of seeing these exponential leaps with him, because
that's a great point.
Because it took him a little while longer just to physically mature. You remember he had such a baby face when he came in, and even when you looked at him physically, he just didn't quite have that young man's body yet. He was a kid in a lot of ways. Still a very good player as a freshman. He had his moments, but really that's I think why you're seeing some of that growth from him the last couple of years.
to follow that. He even told Jeremy and I, and it's out there. I mean, he's told all the media, but he almost left school. I mean, he called his mom and he's like, "This isn't for me. I don't think I'm good enough to play in the Big Ten. I don't think I should be here." I think he was homesick. He was a younger kid. You know, that was like me at SIU when I was 17 when I started, and you could get into the bars at 18. So I called my dad and I said, "I don't think this is the place for me. I can't even get in the bars." And Dad said, "Good. Why don't you work on your grades first and then worry about that later?" All right, high school football. Let's hammer this, Craig Choate. Unity is going to be really good.
Yeah, I think they maybe surprised a few people last year
I
getting
agree.
as far as they did, but they return a lot.
They do.
They lose a few linemen, I think, but the quarterback is back. Stephen Miggett's back. He is quick. He can throw the ball. They have pretty much all their playmakers back, I think.
I think you're right.
So
you got Kaiser.
Yeah, Kaiser's.
Yep.
I mean,
Dawson actually is the younger one now. Jaden Kaiser.
Yes.
I think he graduated it.
I think that's correct.
I think that is correct.
But yeah, I mean, the Rockets are the team to beat, if not the Ocall in this. I don't want to say state in Central Illinois.
I agree.
They're likely to repeat up, and I guess it'll be here this year.
Yes.
It was in DeKalb last year, so it'll be here this year. Other Ocall, Monticello has a lot to replace. They lost the quarterback, Brandon Wildman, but I think they'll be good as well. And then SJO's interesting.
St. Joe's got a
new coach, and they lose one of the best senior classes.
Right.
I've seen
that's going to be tough.
Yeah,
and Dick Duvall, of course, who is retired now, and a guy that really kind of got jobbed on that fumble. Was that 2 years ago in the state championship where I don't think it was a fumble and St. Joe should have won the title? But I don't. It'll be interesting, and who knows? I think you're right. St. Joe's a team that I'm anxious to kind of see what happens with them this year because I really don't know going in.
Yeah, Brett Behrens, the sports director at WCIA, went out and did a story with Skinner and the team last week, and he said, I've been here. It's really nothing different for us because he's been on the staff, so these players don't really have much adjustment, and I think a lot of the other assistant coaches stayed too. So you're losing a Hall of Fame head coach, but everybody else is still there.
Okay.
So, but like I said, the senior class last year led every sport. I mean,
unbelievable.
They were in the if the weather is normal in the semifinals last year, because it was that blizzard. Remember, I think SJO is up in DeKalb.
Okay.
And not Unity.
Okay.
But I mean, you can't change the weather. But but yeah, SJO is interesting. But I still think the Ocall belongs to Unity this year.
Any other? I know there's other teams.
Right.
If you look at some other teams, like some of the stalwarts, Arcola won a state title last year. I don't know I'm sure they lost a lot. They have some coming back. Tuscola, a team that's always perennially good. Who are we missing on some of the other teams?
Team I want to ask you about, and I've been so impressed with Champaign Central, and what they've been able to do the last couple of years, and just how they've built that program up. What do you feel about the Maroons here this year? Can they sustain what they've done here the last couple of years?
Well, last year was a great year for them. They made it to the semis 11-2, I think. Josh Parker is back, running back. They do lose the running back Matt Brown.
Yeah, Brown's gone.
Brown's gone, but Parker is back and he can carry a load.
He can fly.
He can fly. He can run you over. He's pretty good. I only got to see him a few times last year, but I walked away impressed pretty much every time.
Agree.
So it'll be interesting. I think the quarterback is back as well.
Am I thinking, is that Walker Stillman?
I think. So they do have some pieces back to repeat last year. I'm not sure, but I think they'll be good in the Big 12.
They've done a great job, and now all of a sudden his name is slipping my mind. The head coach at Central,
Nate Albaugh.
Nate Albaugh.
Yes, that's right.
And when the first time I met Nate, I knew his dad back in the day. But the first time I met Nate, when he came in here and spoke to Jeremy and I, when he left, we both looked at each other, Brian. We're like, yeah, that kid's going to win. I mean, he's going to do well.
Well, I remember when he took over. There wasn't a lot in the tank there when he took that over. But I remember just watching him build that. And 2 years ago, when they first made the playoffs. I'm trying to remember. We covered their first round game when I was over across town, and I just remember watching that team as it progressed, and they didn't do a lot of stuff. I mean, they ran very simple stuff on offense, but even then, I mean, they got beat by a better team in their first round playoff game that year. But they ran their stuff, they ran it well, and you could tell that was just a very well coached team, and that's the impression I got from watching that Champaign Central team develop under Nate Albaugh. So when you've got a program like that, I think that kind of helps you to at least be solid every year.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're trying to build a program, you can't get too complex. You got to get basic, and when you get good at the basic, you can get more complex. So they're a little bit better now. It'll be interesting to see if they evolve into a more complex offense and defense to do a few more things.
And you would think, I mean, I'm coming from small town America, right? I was Villa Grove, Illinois. So, but even at Villa Grove, they get a lot of great athletes. I don't want to say great, but they get a lot of good athletes that come out to play football. You would think at a bigger school like an Urbana, like a Champaign Centennial, a Central, there's got to be athletes walking those hallways that can help make a difference. That's part of it. I don't care what school you're at. Mm-hmm. I mean, when Unity, St. Joe, I think that's just a given. You're going to play football for the most part. And I think that's some of the challenges for these coaches that take over at a Centennial, at a Central, at an Urbana. I could be dead wrong.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right on the money.
But I mean,
you're right.
Those are you see these kids that could be so athletic and help. That's kind of probably it's almost like recruiting in college. You're recruiting these kids in the hallway to come play football for you, and that makes a big difference.
Well, yeah, you've got to get them, one, to come out, and then you've got to convince them that it's worth their time and worth their while to put the work in.
Right, exactly.
Because
weight room, everything.
Yeah, weight room, conditioning, everything in between. And I think in a lot of ways that can be the challenge. And I think you're starting to see that now at Central. You're starting to see the numbers are a little bit up from where they were. They're starting to build that program. That's and awesome. Certainly when you get some success, then those kids at the middle school level are like, hey, I want to be a part of that when I'm in high school, and it kind of helps build on itself.
I totally agree. And by the way, our J.T. Walker's High School Showcase starts the 26th. It's Mahomet and Mount Zion. We're going to have that game for you right here on, well, actually, that's on U.S. 105.1, I believe.
105.9.
Or 105.9. Thank you, Brian. My goodness.
I'm here to help you out.
Thank you for knowing our stations better than I do. We've got so many different stations. All right, I want to end this with baseball. Okay. I want to end this with baseball. And Craig, I appreciate. I've kept you here all hour, by the way, so I appreciate it. Cardinal baseball. Let's start there, and then we'll let Brian have the last word, which he deserves this year. What do you expect the rest of the way with the Cardinals? Are they a playoff team? If so, are they dangerous enough to get through a round or two?
I like to think of myself as a realistic Cardinal fan, so I'm going to be honest. I didn't think this was a playoff team.
Okay,
going into this year at the All-Star break, I didn't think so, but they keep staying in there.
They just kind of hang around.
Yeah, they're kind of hanging around. The pitching is the concern, obviously.
Yes.
The starters have just not been there. Wainwright has not been himself. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he can get it back.
I know he had a little stretch.
Right, he had a few starts where he was good. Jaime has been pretty good.
Yeah.
But I would like Carlos is Carlos. He's
right.
He's a tsunami out there.
I was encouraged, by the way, by Luke Weaver.
Yes.
And Alex Reyes has looked great.
Yes.
Too.
Luke Weaver in his start Saturday. I watched. He only went 4 innings. I watched the game. He made one bad pitch.
Yeah.
Addison Russell hit the
3-2 changeup.
Yeah. One full count. You got to throw a strike.
Yep.
Because Weaver doesn't walk people.
No.
And he made one bad pitch. That's a good start. I would like to see Reyes get a few starts. Maybe work his way into the rotation, and then maybe in the playoffs bring his 101 out of the bullpen.
He could be a dark horse.
He could be. The offense has been surprising. It's weird because this Cardinal team is a 180. From years past. Usually they're winning games 3-2, 2-1. Now they're winning games 10-9.
It's weird.
Just,
I don't like it.
And Cardinal fans don't like it either way.
I know it.
They can't win either way. So
I like those 3-2 games a lot better. All right, Brian, I'm gonna end it with you. The Cubbies.
Yes.
I think they're the best team in baseball. Is that too much pressure for you as a Cubs fan to handle going into the playoffs?
No, I don't think so. I mean, you have to know going in that the playoffs is different.
Right.
Just because you're the best team in the regular season, it doesn't mean you're going to win all the way through the playoffs. When's the last time that the team with the best record won the whole thing? It's been a little while. It's been a little while because it's different baseball. So we'll see if the Cubs can get that 7th and 8th inning figured out in the bullpen, get Strop back, get Rondon sharp. I like their chances.
Okay. Are they going to win it all?
Beats the heck out of me.
What are you going to do that night? Are you streaking champagne that night, Brian Moline?
Champagne Urbana will be grateful. No, I will not do that. But
you won't be the only one, I'm sure.
I'll be on the phone with my dad, lifelong Cubs fan, and we'll just be soaking it in.
I love it. Well, it's gonna be interesting. Craig Choate, thank you, buddy.
No problem. Anytime, guys.
That was awesome to have you come on. Brian Moline's going to hang with me for another hour. We're going to hear next hour from Jeremy Warner, of course, co-host of our Tay and J Show, publisher of IlliniInquirer.com. Also, I'll try to get to a couple of interviews with Wes Lunt and Kendrick Foster, a guy that's battling for that backup running back spot along with Reggie Corbin. Reggie Corbin in that role. Craig Choate, thank you, buddy.
No problem.
Anytime. Good stuff. All right, we'll be back. It's the Tay and J Show.
Urbana Business Association and the City of Urbana are excited to announce the second season of their Urbana Food Truck Rally Series. Gourmet food trucks from around the Urbana-Champaign area will converge in the Urbana Civic Center parking lot on the last Tuesday of each month from April through October from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. rain or shine. So get out of your office, soak up some sun, and enjoy a great selection of CU's finest street food. For a list of participating food trucks or more information, please visit urbanabusiness.com or urbanaillinois.us.
In business, risks and rewards come with every decision, like moving to the cloud with Office 365. While its benefits include anywhere access and lower costs, cyber threats and user errors can quickly wipe out data and the money you save. Barracuda Essentials for Office 365 provide an added layer of security and functionality for threat protection, email migration, data recovery, and quality of service. Move securely to Office 365. Visit barracuda.com/essentials to learn more.
Check out the new Honda BMW of Champaign, formerly Twin City Honda BMW and still located in Savoy. These guys are crazy for used vehicles. Truckloads of pre-owned vehicles, 25 to 50% off the price of a similar new model. And not just Hondas and BMWs, cars, pickup trucks, and SUVs of all makes. Financing options on used cars as low as 1.9%. Just drive by Honda BMW of Champaign and you'll see from the street that this is a new dealership. Honda BMW of Champaign, online at drivechampaign.com. Live from the Habib BPC studios, this is WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Fox News Radio, I'm Jane Metzler. New tactics to take on ISIS. Republican nominee Donald Trump delivering a foreign policy speech today in Youngstown, Ohio. Fox's Jared Halpern has the details live.
Donald Trump is proposing what he describes as extreme vetting of U.S. visa seekers to prevent ISIS terrorists from entering the country.
We should only admit into this country those who share our values and respect our people.
The Republican nominee suggesting an ideological screening test to ensure those entering the U.S. endorse religious freedom, gender equality, and gay rights. In that foreign policy address in Ohio, Trump also said his administration would work with any country with a shared goal of defeating ISIS, singling out Russia as a potential ally. Jane.
Thanks, Jared. Hillary Clinton campaigning in Scranton, Pennsylvania, responding.
Sometimes he says he won't tell anyone what he'll do because he wants to keep his plan, quote, secret. And then it turns out the secret is he has no plan.
The State Department, meantime, confirming it voluntarily agreed to produce any emails sent or received by Clinton in her official capacity when she served as Secretary of State. The conservative group Judicial Watch requested them under the Freedom of Information Act. Thousands in shelters in southern Louisiana as floodwaters move from one Baton Rouge area neighborhood to another, and more rain in the forecast.
Residents tell us they received so much rain so quickly they had no time to get out of their homes. That led to more than 20,000 water rescues by military vehicles, helicopters, and boats. Those rescues are still taking place in Baton Rouge and to the south.
Fox's Will Carr in Baton Rouge, at least 6 people dead in the flooding. You're listening to Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
For me, it was the big S-Class from the 90s. Beautiful. My friend's dad had one.
The SL. All of the SLs. I've been watching those since I was a kid.
I think the 1971 SE was the first Mercedes that just blew me away.
Everyone remembers the first time they saw one, and the day they began to long for a Mercedes-Benz of their own. Well, that day may be a lot closer than you think. With a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz, you can experience the luxury and safety Mercedes-Benz is famous for at a price you can afford. Beautiful SUVs, sedans, coupes, and convertibles that are factory certified and covered by an unlimited mileage warranty for up to 3 years, so you can drive without a worry for as far as you like. And during the certified pre-owned sales event now through August 31st, you can receive 2 years of complimentary prepaid maintenance and 0.99% APR financing on select models available through Mercedes-Benz Financial Services. You've waited long enough.
See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for complete details and limitations on certified pre-owned warranties. APR offer available only to qualified customers. Call 1-800-FOR-MERCEDES for details about costs and terms.
Fire north of San Francisco, destroying more than 100 homes and businesses in the town of Lower Lake. A sixth body found in the debris of an apartment building in Silver Spring, Maryland. An explosion and fire there last Wednesday night injured more than 30. 7 are still missing. After another night of violence in Milwaukee, a stepped-up police presence there again tonight.
Milwaukee police say in the city's second night of violence here that 7 officers were hurt. There were 14 arrests, 3 squads damaged, 30 shot spotter activations, and that another business was damaged amid protests over the police shooting of an armed man.
We were able to exert a significant amount of control over the streets without resort to deadly force.
Chief Ed Flynn, officials don't know what to expect tonight here in the city's northwest side, but they do say that hundreds of law enforcement officers will stand guard to keep people safe. They're also enforcing a very strict 10 p.m. curfew for teens. In Milwaukee, Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
A notorious college fraternity, a focus of a political campaign?
Mark Connolly, running in New Hampshire's Democratic primary for governor, saying he'll work to restore the status of a Dartmouth College fraternity that loosely inspired the 1978 comedy film Animal House.
Toga, 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 toga.
The Boston Globe reporting that the Alpha Delta frat was booted from the Ivy League school's campus in April of 2015 after officials learned members branded pledges on their backsides. Connolly, a member of Alpha Delta when he graduated from Dartmouth in 1979, saying he wants the frat reinstated. Dartmouth saying, however, that derecognition is permanent. New Hampshire's governor automatically becomes an ex officio member of the college's board of trustees. Paul Stevens, Fox News.
U.S. markets ending higher, the Dow up 59.5 points. I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News Radio.
Let's take a look at your weather forecast. It's brought to you by Chief Bauer. Trust the AC experts at Chief Bauer Service Experts to help keep you cool all summer long. Call 866-EXPERTS or visit chiefbauer.com today. I remembered this time, Lon.
Nice.
All right, in your forecast, rain tonight, maybe a thunderstorm down to 69 for the low. Showers and thunderstorms possible. Again, tomorrow we'll get up to 80. And mostly sunny skies for the day on Wednesday and a high of 85 degrees.
You ready to do some drive time?
You betcha.
Let's get it on. Brian Moline. It's time for Drive Time, brought to you by Honda BMW of Champaign. Check them out, man. They do great stuff, and here's where we preview the first 2 years of the Tay and J Show.
First 2 years.
Are you ready to go preview? Are you ready to look back?
Absolutely.
First 2 hours of the Tay and J Show. Brian Moline was the first couple hours, the first 20 minutes. You and I talked a lot of baseball. Introduced you to our airwaves. Appreciate you jumping on today. Jeremy Warner, we're going to hear from him here in a minute. Of course, the co-host of the Tay and J Show, publisher of IlliniInquirer.com, Mike Carpenter on vacation. So, Brian, it's great to have you here and joining us. We talked a lot of baseball, and I kind of let you just have your minute with the Cubs in the spotlight, and why not?
That.
This team is good.
They are good. And we talked a lot about the starting pitching, Lon, because I think that's been the key. I think it's been the thing that has been better than expected overall. I think everybody expected Jake Arrieta to be very good. He has been. They expected John Lester to be solid. After that, I think they thought they had some solid options at 3 through 5, but I don't think anybody thought that Kyle Hendricks would be leading the National League in ERA or that Jason Hamill would have an ERA under 3 at this point in the season either. So I think that's been the key for this Cubs team. That starting pitching has just been really solid.
Yeah, without a doubt. And then you've also, I mean, there's so many young kids on this team, but you've seen like a guy like Contreras come up and pinch in that role. I mean, it's the offense. I don't think we talked about this, but guys like Bryant and Rizzo, How do you pick an MVP from one of those two guys? Who's the better player, Chris Bryant or Anthony Rizzo? You could make a case for either one of them.
I think right now Rizzo is the better hitter overall. I think he's just a little more complete.
Consistent, complete. I agree.
He doesn't strike out very much. He's really improved his two-strike approach.
Right.
Puts the ball in play with 2 strikes. Bryant is still strikes out a little bit more, but then as far as an all-around player, I might give Bryant the edge because he can play above-average defense.
Agree.
At third base, left field, right field. He's just a very versatile player, and he's a little better on the base pass.
Yeah, I agree with you. And unfortunately, he's going to be there a long time. I think both of them are going to be there a long time. You said the one thing that scares you as a Cubs fan is that bullpen. Obviously, you go out, you've added a Montgomery, you've added, Aroldis Chapman obviously was the biggest one. You've added some pieces to it, but yet you still have that little bit of the 7th, 8th inning issue. That's the one thing I guess you said as a Cubs fan you're looking to shore up before the playoffs hit, right?
Yeah, I think so. Rondon got hit hard last night. It was his first outing in 12 days. I'll be watching him to see if he gets his command back. He just wasn't real sharp last night.
Everything was high. You said that earlier. Everything was up in his zone.
The velocity was there, so I think he's fine. Physically, can he get the sharpness back, the command back? And then Pedro Strop, of course, knee surgery out about 4 to 6 weeks. So if they can get him back before the end of the regular season, let him get back into shape. If you've got Strop, Rondon, Chapman at the back end of your bullpen, I feel pretty good about that, especially with that rotation the Cubs have.
Plus, you've got your lefties in that bullpen as well that are fine with regards to getting that lefty out, left-handed hitter out, which you're going to see, you're going to face in these playoffs. Do the Cardinals scare you as a Cubs fan? Would they scare you playing them? And try to take away just the fact that it's the Cardinals, I mean, do they scare you? Or who? Here's a better question. Who's the one team you don't want to face in the playoffs? Is it the Nationals?
Probably. It's very interesting because with the Nationals this year, I think they are probably right there with the Cubs as far as best team in the NL. They're only a few games behind them in the National League. Then I look at a team like the Giants. With a guy like Madison Bumgarner,
they almost scare you more, don't they?
Yeah, and they're struggling a little bit since the All-Star break. I'll be keeping an eye on them to see if they can hold off the Dodgers in the West. If they're that wild card team, of course they would send Bumgarner to the mound in that game, and then who knows what happens in the division series? But the Dodgers I'm not really scared of the Dodgers. Okay. They might get Kershaw back. They might not, depending on what happens. He's not back throwing yet. But even if they do, he's had his issues in the playoffs here and there.
I agree.
Washington, if Scherzer is on, the man is unhittable.
Right.
If he is on. Now, he has his off games, but if he's on, the man is unhittable. And they've got some other good options in the rotation, Strasburg among them. Bryce Harper hasn't been quite the same player this year, but they've got some other weapons on offense. Washington's very good. I think if I'm a Cubs fan, the team I'm probably the most afraid of, probably Washington overall.
Okay, yeah, because that 1-2 punch of Scherzer and Strasburg, they can go out and win games. I mean, in those two, all of a sudden you're down 2-0 in a series. That's hard to come back from. But you look at the Cubs; they've got plenty of pitching as well to match that. In that rotation for sure.
Now, I will say this about the Cardinals. I'll be curious to see what happens with their pitching the rest of the year.
Agree.
You talked a little bit with Craig about Weaver. I thought overall he looked pretty good. He had that shaky inning in the second. They hit the 2-run homer, Russell did, and then he loaded the bases again. The Cubs weren't able to cash that in. He looked solid. He had a really good changeup. That impressed me. Reyes looked really good coming in relief. He was overpowering. How do they use those guys the rest of the way? Is Reyes more of a bullpen guy? Do they try and slide him into the rotation? It'll be interesting to see how Mike Matheny handles that. Other than that, as far as their lineup goes, obviously Matt Carpenter is just a professional. Yeah, he's a tough out no matter where he is. Piscotty is really developing.
Jennifer Langosh, you said earlier, reported that Ledmus Diaz about 2 weeks away, probably?
Yeah, 2 weeks away from resuming baseball activities.
Oh, okay.
Then, of course, he would have to get back into game shape and all that. So you're probably looking at another 3 to 4 weeks on him coming back. That would be a big addition if he can come back and produce even close to what he was doing before. Because without Diaz, I don't think the Cardinals lineup scares you as much.
It doesn't.
They've got some guys with some pop.
And don't forget Holiday out, too, on the DL now with the Brooks. Right. Thanks a lot, Cubs.
Moss has some pop, but he's got holes.
Yep, I agree. Matt Adams, same deal.
Yeah, and Matt Adams is on the DL right now,
Well, that's right, and he's on the DL. I mean, the Cardinals just have a lot of injury issues every year, but they have the depth. They've always had the depth to kind of counter it, but this year I think they're running out of time with that depth, and it's going to be a fun September.
It will.
It's going to be fun. All right, we also talked Illinois football. It was media day yesterday. Lovie Smith and the gang met with the media to talk about stuff. I thought Lovie, I think, I don't want to say he's just confident that he's ready to start this season, but I think he likes how things are going thus far in training camp. And he even mentioned it yesterday, and you mentioned it earlier, Brian, that defensive line. That defensive line is what you're going to have. That's going to be your calling card. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to shut down running games, hope that Dunlap and those guys, Barton in the back, can handle the passing game, just kind of handle it is the way to look at it. But that defensive line is where they're really going to have to it needs to come through this year, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Not only stuffing the run, but getting pressure on the quarterback on those passing downs. That's where it's going to have to come from, I think, on that defensive side of the ball. And they've got the talent to do it. So now it's time to go out and put up some numbers.
Agree. Offensively, you've got Keyshawn Vaughn. I mean, Lovie Smith said yesterday, and we talked about this earlier, he wants to run the football. He wants to establish a run. They're going to have a fullback that they want to run behind, and get yards. Can Illinois be a good running team in the Big Ten, Brian? That's hard.
It is hard. It's hard, and the other issue with that is that Illinois, with their offensive line, they've been recruiting guys who are built more to be pass blockers.
Agreed.
You mentioned the tackle Schmidt and DeLauro.
Yep.
They're not the biggest guys.
Nope.
They were guys who came in underweight, and they've built up. They've done a good job developing as players. But are they those road grader run blockers? I don't know that they are.
Fair enough.
We'll see how it goes.
All right, and hopefully Allegretti, Meganson in the future. A kid like Larry Boyd, who committed this past weekend from Missouri. We're going to talk to Jeremy Werner here in just a few minutes about a kid like him and his commitment to Illinois. Those are the kind of guys I think Lovie Smith wants to get and see and really turn this into a running team here at Illinois. And, of course, we talked a little Illini basketball. I had you and Craig Choate from Channel 3 kind of give me your thoughts on this year's upcoming season. We talked a little recruiting. I mean, it's unfortunate we lost Goodwin. Trent Frazier's coming up this weekend. That's going to be big. We're going to talk to Jeremy about that as well. But overall, it needs to be an NCAA tournament team, Brian. And I think you've got the pieces in place with a Malcolm Hill, with a Mav Morgan, and a Mike Thorne, and JCL. And now you get Tracy Abrams back. I mean, you've covered this team a long time. You think they've got the pieces in place to get back to that tournament?
They do. They've got the pieces. Now they just need to put it together on the court and make it happen. You know, this is the year. This is where it all comes together, I think, for John Gross and the Illini team. Got to get back to the tournament this year, and who knows, maybe make a little noise while you're at it.
Boy, it'd be nice, wouldn't it? That'd be nice to just know you're in the NCAA tournament one more time. That would be awesome. All right, that is Drive Time, presented by Honda BMW of Champaign. We do it every day, recapping the first 2 hours of the show. Hey, I want to tell you about Busey. Saving is a step to building a strong future. Whether you're starting a college fund for a child, saving for retirement, or building an emergency fund, Busey encourages you to begin your path to savings today. Start by creating a budget. It works, believe me. Track your spending. Use an online budgeting system. FinanceWorks through Busey eBank can categorize your spending for you. That's handy. Determine your income, take-home pay, investment income, and other sources, and set realistic financial goals to help develop your budget and then to help achieve them. Also, how about save? Yeah, you can save, and Busey makes it easy with a wealth of tools, including Busey eBank, where you can control and monitor finances online. Also, the Busey mobile app, where you can manage your finances and track your spending anytime, anywhere. Busey can help you get there. Get started on your savings goals today with the innovative products and services at Busey. Visit Busey.com for more resources. Recesses. Yeah, kids are already wanting recesses, aren't they, as they begin school?
They are.
Heck yeah, I always excelled in PE and recesses, without a doubt. Resources is what Busey has. Stop by for one of their many convenient locations. That is Busey.com. All right, Brian Moline, Latte. Later on, I'm going to let you hear from Kendrick Foster. I don't know if we'll be able to get to West Lunt today, but I want you to hear from Kendrick Foster, the Illini running back. He had a lot of great things to say. He's really fired up for this running core to go out and do some damage on this Illini team. But when we return, Brian, we're going to visit with Jeremy Warner, of course, co-host of the Tay and J Show, publisher of IlliniInquirer.com. We'll ask him about Illinois football recruiting, and also Illinois basketball losing Jordan Goodwin, what he thinks of that. We'll do it next. It is the Tay and J Show.
When you need hit music, you need Champaign-Urbana's hit music station. All the hits, Q96, where they start every workday with a Q96 Minute Music Marathon. A proud sister station to ESPN Radio 93.5.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat. Here's Sarah Spain.
For the third straight year, Giancarlo Stanton will not make it till the end of the season. The groin injury Stanton suffered on Saturday is a serious one that will keep him out the rest of 2016. Stanton struggled at the start of the season, but since July, he's heated up. He's accounted for 25 of the Marlins' 96 home runs this season, more than a quarter, an especially big deal on a team that has the third fewest dingers in the major leagues and can hardly afford to lose its main power source. Stanton also leads the team in RBI with 70 and boasts the highest walk rate. The Marlins are currently in the wild card race, and if they want to stay in the hunt, they'll need to find a way to patch up the hole Stanton leaves. That likely starts with more playing time for Ichiro Suzuki, who's hitting .319 in limited at-bats this season. Help may need to come from the outside as well, and some are pointing to Alex Rodriguez. More on that after this.
AutoZone presents the oil change. Regular oil changes protect your engine from wear and tear, helping your car roll well beyond the 100,000-mile mark. And right now, you can get a 5-quart jug of Castrol GTX conventional motor oil for just $19.99. So visit your local AutoZone. With over 5,000 locations, the right supplies and good advice are just around the corner, so you can fix your car with confidence. Hoods up, America.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions and details in store.
You know, Alex, sometimes it helps to have an expert opinion.
Like for sports analysis, you want to listen to a guy who actually played professional sports.
Or a respected sports journalist.
Sure. If we're talking $500 haircuts, I think you'd have a lot to say.
It was $400.
But if you're looking for a great set of tires.
Trust Goodyear. From fire trucks to race cars, Goodyear tires offer superior performance and handling.
And everything they learn making tires for expert drivers inspires what they roll into yours. Go to Goodyear.com to find the right tire and store for you.
Goodyear, more driven.
A-Rod batted just .200 with 9 home runs and 31 RBI in 243 plate appearances for the Yankees this season. He went just 6 for 44 at the plate from July 1st on. And as a DH, he's a better fit for an American League team. But desperate times call for desperate measures. When asked whether adding A-Rod might be a possibility, Miami Marlins president Michael Hill said, quote, "We're putting our list together of options. Rodriguez is available, so he will be on that list. We'll see where that goes." Hill went on to say he's not sure how much interest Rodriguez has in finishing out the season. A-Rod himself said after his emotional finale at Yankee Stadium on Friday night, quote, "It's going to be tough to top that. That's a memory that I'll own forever." But he sits just 4 home runs shy of 700. That alone may be enough to lure him back. With the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm Sarah Spain.
With the summer's hottest days ahead, Chief Bauer Service Experts reminds you that if your AC system is more than 10 years old, it may be time for a replacement. Because if it fails, you'll get hot, and you might think about doing weird things to cool off, like building a fort inside the fridge. Instead, call Chief Bauer Service Experts and save up to $2,600 on a new Lennox home comfort system. Plus, make payments as low as $99 a month with approved credit. You'll save up to 50% on energy bills and have a written 100% satisfaction guarantee. Call 866-EXPERTS or visit chiefbauer.com.
Delicious food, brews, live music, art, the ChampaignMoms.com Kids Zone, and more. Join us with the Champaign Park District for the taste of Champaign-Urbana, August 19th and 20th in Westside Park in Champaign. Try something new. Get a sample of local favorites as you explore exciting food vendors. Hear free live music featuring hip-hop legend Curtis Blow and chart-topping rock band Vertical Horizon on the Illinois American Water Entertainment Stage. The taste of Champaign-Urbana has something for everyone. So come to Westside Park August 19th and 20th and be ready to eat. More information at ChampaignParks.com. Proceeds benefit the Youth Scholarship Fund.
It's
Time for the update. Illini football, 2 big commits over the weekend, and they're both Missouri products and were big targets for Mizzou. 3-star cornerback Tony Adams and 3-star offensive lineman Larry Boyd. After losing to SLU in the state of Missouri late last week with the Jordan Goodwin commitment, it feels really good to win one. MLB, all local teams have off days today, but that doesn't mean we don't have storylines. After suffering a tragic defeat at the hands of the rival Redbirds, Cubs are now only 12 games up in the division. According to Twitter last night, all is lost and the season is certainly over. Well, that's not entirely true. They start a 4-game series, which included a Tuesday doubleheader with the talent strip Brewers. Game 1's tomorrow afternoon. Trevor Cahill versus former Cub Matt Garza. Off the field, the Cubs fired the Wrigley Field DJ. Their closer Aroldis Chapman exited the mound following a scoreless 9th inning. The DJ played the song Smack My Bee Up by the British band Prodigy. Due to Chapman's controversial background with domestic violence, you can imagine why there was such an outrage. Cubs called it an irresponsible music selection. Injury news, John Lackey had to leave mid-batter in last night's game with a stiff shoulder. After the game, he said he was okay, and the removal was just the result of being cautious. With last night's comeback win, the Cardinals improved to 62-56 and stayed a half game up on the Marlins for the second wild-card spot. The Dodgers have a 3.5-game lead for the first wild-card spot with a 65-52 record. It's sad news, but good news for the Cardinals' playoff chances. Marlins slugger Giancarlo Stanton's out for the rest of the season with a groin injury. The White Sox just finished taking 2 of 3 from the Marlins and will head to LeBron's land to take on the Indians. Game 1 tomorrow is a matchup of impressive young arms, potential Cy Young candidates. Jose Quintana versus Corey Kluber. Quintana 9-8 with a 285 and Kluber 12-8 with a 321. Olympic gymnastics. Simone Biles' quest for an all-gold Olympics is over. She received a bronze in vault, which isn't too bad, and her teammate Laura Hernandez earned silver. Football, Bears, and Pats having co-training camp this week, and on the first day, fists were flying. Alshon Jeffrey and Malcolm Butler got into a little bit of a skirmish. 530 Sports Center, I'm Nate DeSoto.
Thank you, Nate. Hey, from cleaning chemicals to paper, can liners, and floor care, CMI in Champaign has everything to keep your business running under one roof. Need laundry products for your business, carpet care, cleaning supplies, and bathroom supplies too? Visit CMIClean.com. That's CMIClean.com to see all they offer. They are the longest family-owned janitorial supply company in Champaign. Call CMI at 359-6262. That's 359-6262. Or visit online at CMIClean.com. All right, it's the Tay and J Show. Latte, Brian Moline filling in admirably today for Jeremy Warner and Mike Carpenter on family vacation. So, Brian, we appreciate what you've been able to do today.
Yeah, having a great time, Lon.
Oh, this is fun to have a radio veteran like you. I knew you'd just come right in, and this would be an easy 3 hours, and that's what it has been. But the one guy that you're kind of taking over his place now, he absolutely said, no, I need to come on.
Oh, of course.
Because I don't want Moline to upstage me and be better than me today.
Well, there's no chance of that.
That's Jeremy Warner. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's going on? What's up, Brian?
Not much. Congratulations there, Papa.
Thanks, man. Yeah, he's I've been lucky. I've been knocking on wood all week, but he's been sleeping, boys. So it's
sleeping.
Kind of nice.
Oh, I got so tired. Jeremy told me that yesterday, and I just walked away from him. I'm like, whatever. It sounds like everything's going great. Tiff emailed me today. She sounds like everything's good there, and little baby Torrin, I told her, is the most photogenic baby ever.
Yeah, we think he's cute. We're a little biased, but yeah, I think we're going to keep him. He's been a nice addition so far.
Usually after a week, you decide whether you're going to keep him or not. So I guess today's the big day.
He made the cut. He made the cut.
I love it.
It's like roster cutting day. He made the cut.
Well, that's good to hear because I'm ready to meet him, all right? So let's make that happen soon. All right, Jeremy, let's get this out of the way early. Jordan Goodwin heading to SLU, not Illinois. Everybody's going to want your take on this. We didn't have a show Friday. You had been gone all week. This is our first chance to kind of talk to you here on the airwaves of the Tay and J Show. What is your thoughts on losing a guy like Jordan Goodwin?
Yeah, I know everyone's given their opinions. I heard Carp was pretty up in arms about this one, which doesn't surprise me. Guys, this one hurts because, like we talked about, Jeremiah Tillman was the perception changer. I always thought Jordan Goodwin was the culture changer. He's just kind of everything Illinois missed, and kind of that junkyard dog who's just wants to kill everybody on the court, right? That mindset that Illinois just hasn't had. Plus, he's a really, really good basketball player. You know, that Sergio McClain kind of guy who, if he's on a team, you know they're going to win. They're going to miss that. the thing is, they don't need a wing all that much, right? I mean, they are loaded with wings, but he's the kind of guy that doesn't matter what you need on your team. You want that kind of guy, and Illinois obviously wanted him really, really bad. And I think what hurts the most out of all of this, guys, is how much time Illinois put in, how long they made him the priority. They were the first Power 5 program to offer him, and he went silent on them. Went silent on them the last 3 weeks. And I think this kid needs to learn how to break up with a girl, right? I know it's tough to do, but you can't just ignore her. You got to tell her. I know that probably had to be tough for him, but SLU came hard. He grew up rooting for SLU. I think he wanted to be the guy. I think, Jeremiah Tillman we thought would help. I don't know if it helped. I think he wanted to be, I'm going to average 20 points a game. I'm going to lead SLU to the NCAA tournament by myself. I want to show everybody that I can do this by myself. While Illinois is trying to sell, and I'm not saying Jordan Goodwin's not a team player, because obviously he's led some good Althoff teams to state championship last year and to the state title game a couple years ago. But he's got a big chip on his shoulder, and Travis Ford sold the heck out of him. You're going to be that guy from day one. You are the face of our program. You are going to resurrect this program, and quickly he bought into that. But for Illinois, it's a tough one to take, given all they'd shown him, all the love they'd given him. And he could have been maybe the best player on a Big Ten championship team down the line. But he wanted to be possibly the A-10 player of the year. And I think eventually he'll be that. So big get for SLU, but for Illinois, you just got to move on and get some more targets because they still have a chance at a great class.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, well, let's get to the good news here, Jeremy, on the recruiting side. Illinois football going into the state of Missouri and getting a couple of pretty good players out of there. Tony Adams and Larry Boyd. What happened there? Why Illinois for those guys?
Well, it's amazing, Brian, because Thursday night, just talking to some people, Illinois didn't feel very good about Tony Adams. And I come to find out, I talked to Tony, and he said, yeah, honestly, Mizzou was my choice on Thursday. But he woke up, he said he was second-guessing it the whole time, that if he picked Mizzou, and he said, I just had a better relationship with Illinois. He grew up, his parents rooting for Illinois. He's actually from Belleville, even though he plays in St. Louis University High School. And he just said, I wanted to go with my heart, go with my gut, and that was Illinois, that I had a better relationship. So Illinois hasn't had very many victories against Mizzou in anything football-wise in the last decade, especially recruiting, though. That was a nice get, but Tony's going to be a nice cornerback. He's a great athlete, runs about a 4.5, 40-yard dash. And Ron, we've talked about it all the time. They need to get faster.
Yeah, they do.
They need to get longer, and Tony Adams helps that at cornerback. He could play receiver, too, slot, if they want him to, but they really like him on defense. But Larry Boyd, guys, that's the best get that Lovie Smith has had so far.
Wow.
I really liked Fedarian Lowe, but for the same reasons I like Larry Boyd, but Larry Boyd's even better. Illinois is just lost in the trenches for the last 5 years. I heard you guys talking about it, Brian, you're right on. They have been a finesse offensive line for far too long. Christian DeLauro and Austin Schmidt, I really like them as linemen, but they're finesse pass-blocking guys. The Big Ten is a slobber-knocker conference, and right now they just added Darian Lowe, who's 6'5", 340, and Larry Boyd, who's 6'5", 330 pounds. And these guys both have a mean streak to them. Larry Boyd more so. But you just won a recruiting battle over Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma State. He had a bunch of other Power 5 offers. That's the kind of kid Illinois needs to get to the next level. I don't know if Boyd's going to play right away, guys, for Fedarian Lowe.
Right.
But the offensive line depth is so bad next year that they're definitely going to be in the second group. But in the future, you just need offensive linemen that look like that. Illinois definitely got better looking off the bus. But it's amazing because Larry Boyd told us, I wasn't even thinking about Illinois. I didn't want to think about Illinois. I didn't even care about Illinois 2 weeks ago. And they had to drag him up for an unofficial visit. And he was sleepy, I was told, through the first hour of it. And all of a sudden, his eyes wide open as Lovie Smith was talking to him. And just that visit alone changed his perspective, made Illinois the leader. He wanted to visit again, couldn't get up here last week, got up here on Saturday and made the commitment. So it's amazing how quickly it changed. And that's one instance of the Lovie Smith effect and how Illinois open doors and how they can win recruitments with a guy like Lovie Smith at the helm.
Yeah, and it sounds like we'll probably be hearing more stories like that in the future with a guy like Lovie Smith, Hardy Nickerson, Garrick McGee, as these guys get entrenched in other areas and really get more time to recruit some of these younger kids to Illinois. Jeremy Werner, our guest, co-host of the Tay and J Show, publisher of IlliniInquirer.com. He's been covering Illinois football here, training camp the last few days. I always ask you this question to kind of keep track. I don't know, is that 9 now, maybe 10 in this class? Is Illinois about where they should be now, or are we still a little bit behind with regards to numbers?
Yeah, everyone asks me, like, should I be worried yet? Should I be worried yet? And it's a legit question, especially coming into this month. But they've gotten 3 commitments from legit Power 5 prospects this month. 2 defensive backs with Anton Collier out of Florida. He had offers from Nebraska, was one of his big ones, and then Tony Adams and then Larry Boyd. They're getting better, and I think they're feeling a lot better, and I think even Illinois is a little more confident going forward. They have 9 commitments right now. It's about 12th in the Big Ten, but their quality of commits are a lot better than it was the last few years. I mean, most of the guys they're getting are Power 5 players, and I think the biggest factor is they're Power 5 athletes, or they're Power 5 offensive linemen. They're not just, I think Beckman and that crew, sometimes they got good high school football players, but at some point I think Lovie Smith just goes, get me athletes, get me speed, get me size. I can find a way to coach them. I can coach them up and get the most out of them. That's what they're kind of going after. But, yeah, I think they want to get to about 11 or 12 before the season starts, and that's in the next couple of weeks. And a couple guys to watch are Larry Oladipo, the defensive end out of Huntley. He's going to decide either this Friday or next Friday. And it sounds like Illinois, Indiana, and Penn State. And I think Illinois is in a good spot there. He's visited about 5 times since Lovie Smith got here. But he's a defensive end, 6'4", about 250 pounds. He's probably going to get up to that. Just a legit defensive end. Michigan State and Penn State have offered him. So he's pretty good. And then Carmani Green, a wide receiver out of Florida, out of Miami. Illinois has done a great job recruiting him. And he's down to basically Illinois and Pitt. And I think Illinois is in a good spot. But a visit to Pitt, I think, is upcoming. So it could change there. But those are 2 guys I'd really like to get.
Jeremy, as far as this year's team, getting a chance to see these guys some at training camp, who's maybe a name or 2 that Illini fans maybe not quite as familiar with? Who are guys that are kind of maybe starting to pop up on the radar right now?
Guys, I've taken time to buy into this guy, but Kendrick Foster's had a nice camp.
Yes.
And they need another running back. And I always said Kendrick Foster had the biggest legs, but I think they were too big. He's about 5'6" or 5'7" as a running back, right? Out of Peoria Richwood. And he's gotten a lot quicker. He's leaned up. A lot of this team is leaned up. That was what Joey Bose, the new strength and conditioning coach, definitely wanted to do, is lean these guys up, get them more athletic, get them faster. But Kendrick Foster kind of looks like a completely different back. He was kind of a pound-it, fall forward back. But he's really leaned up, looked good in the passing game. I think he can be a solid complementary back. I don't think he's a future starter or a star, but I think he can help, and that's exactly what they need at that running back position. Some other guys, Jamal Milan, I'm just completely in love with, the defensive tackle, redshirt freshman. He was impressive last fall camp. He's been pretty dang good this fall camp, too. Last year sat out with a knee sprain. That's kind of continued to bother him a little bit, but out of all those defenders, outside Jawan Smoot, I think Jamal Milan has as much NFL potential as any of them. Just quick, stays low, big and strong. I think eventually he's going to be the stalwart of that defensive line, and he just adds even more depth and more playmakers to that front line. Then the other kid I love, and he's leaned up as well, is Nick Allegretti, the guard.
Yeah.
Gabe Megginson's been struggling a little bit, and I think he's going to have his struggles as a redshirt freshman. But Nick Allegretti, we talk about, it's been a finesse offensive line. He's not. He's a kind of Ted Karras kind of player where he can be that guy in the run game who's kind of that road grader. He's had a phenomenal fall, had a good spring. He was just kind of lost in his mind last year in the mental part of the game, but he's kind of put it all together, and I think he's going to be really good the next 3 years.
Jeremy, going back to Jamal Milan, it's amazing that he's impressing this much, and he may not see much playing time with the strong defensive line you have. In your mind, I know it's a matter of as much depth as you can get to keep guys fresh, but for a fan watching a game on a Saturday, what can we expect to see? I assume there'll be 3 or 4 of those guys that see the majority of the snaps, but how do you think that rotation with Mike Fair, is that a fair duty? Is that a Hardy Nickerson duty? Who do you think how do you think that defensive line will rotate in and out?
Oh, it's going to be a constant rotation. I mean, they have 6 guys, I think, that are starting caliber on the defensive line. Enjoy it now because it's not going to be that way next year. But they have 6 guys on that line. I mean, Dewan Smoot's one of the best players in the Big Ten. Rob Baines, a solid defensive tackle. Chunky Clements will probably play in the NFL. Jameel President, not even a starter, but he started at Auburn a couple games, and he's looked pretty good. He looks like a solid starting defensive end that they could use next year. Carroll Phillips, great pass rusher. He blew up Kendrick Foster on a sweep today. He could be a breakout performer as well. He's just a great pass rusher. He's added a little strength to his game. And then Tito Odegbu is a pretty good, solid rotational guy. And Kenyon Jackson, a freshman, I don't know if he's going to play, but he's about 5'8", or not 5'8", but 5'10". But he's a great athlete.
Right.
Obviously, he gets low, and he's really, really strong. So I think eventually defensive tackle, they could be okay there. But they're going to constantly rotate those guys. You've got to keep them fresh. It's not just starters. I mean, the linebackers and DBs, they might rotate a little bit, but defensive line, you're always going to rotate those guys.
So, Jeremy, you got a chance to hear what Lovie Smith had to say at Media Day yesterday. Anything that he said that stood out to your ears?
I think he was pretty honest about the offensive line depth. It's not good. Outside of that top 5, and realistically, I don't think you'd want Gabe Meganson to start. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be really good. But he's just a redshirt freshman. We saw at Wisconsin last year where they had a bunch of redshirt freshmen. They were on the worst offensive lines in the Big Ten, even Wisconsin, with redshirt offensive linemen. But the second group right now, guys, is 3 walk-ons.
Wow.
Who had no business playing in the Big Ten. Adam Solomon, a redshirt freshman tackle, and I think he's more of a guard, and Connor Brennan, the JUCO. So you can't have any injuries up front on that offensive line. He's concerned about his special teams, guys.
Yeah.
No returner has stepped up yet. They got about 6 guys who continue to rotate there. I've watched the punting. It's not good. Ryan Frank's back. He had an okay year last year. Hopefully he can do that again. The kicker, Chase McLaughlin's kind of winning that job right now, and he's a walk-on. You got James McCourt, a freshman, David Reisner, a senior, both those guys on scholarship, and they're losing to a walk-on right now. So, Lovie Smith's big on special teams, and that's one thing that's definitely not been there. But the one thing is, guys, you got a quarterback who makes ridiculous throws.
Yep.
You got a running back who's one of the best in the Big Ten, and you might have a top 5 defensive lineman. A defensive line in the Big Ten, which probably top 20 in the country if you do that. So I'm buying into that defensive line more, seeing more Wes Lunt. He's just ridiculous with his throws. But what's around him? That's the hardest question. Does he have receivers he can count on? Today there are a bunch of drops, which I know you hate hearing after last year, but it happened again today. The tight ends, what are you getting out of them? And the offensive line, can they protect them?
Couple more questions, Jeremy, for you. I thought one thing that was interesting that Lovie said yesterday, and I want your take on this because a lot of Illinois fans are also Bears fans, so they're familiar with the defense Lovie Smith runs and the offense, et cetera. But he mentioned something about the cover 2. And he said, you know what, we're really not necessarily a cover 2 defense all the time. What did you take out of what he said with that? And was that kind of shocking to you when he said that?
No, I'm glad he said it because you can't run cover 2 all the time.
Right.
Cover 2 is basically you have 2 corners pressing up on the wide receivers. Then you have 2 safeties deep, right, covering that area. And the linebackers kind of drift off into coverage as well. And it's 4 guys. That's a big part of what he likes to do. But they don't do it all the time, right? If you do it all the time, it's too predictable. Teams figure it out, and they carve it up. It's kind of like what Wisconsin did with Illinois last year. They just carved up their defense because Illinois kept doing the same quarters coverage the entire game. But no, I mean, he runs a lot of man coverage with 8 in the box. He doesn't like to blitz a lot. That's the difference with him. He likes to bump coverage a lot, so you won't see the cornerbacks dropping into cover 3 all that much. He likes to do man coverage, 1 safety really deep. But, yeah, I'm glad he said that because everyone's like, oh, it's cover 2 defense, cover 2 defense. It is sometimes, but they do have a bunch of sub packages. They have a bunch of different looks. It's not as simple as saying, oh, this is what they run all the time.
Jeremy, back to the basketball court, or off the court anyway. Trent Frazier coming to Champaign-Urbana for a visit this weekend. How important is he right now for that 2017 class?
Huge. I think they needed a big man, and they got Jeremiah Tillman as good as you can get out there. That filled the huge hole. You would have loved Goodwin. He would have been one of the most important players in this class. But you're talking about next position, it's point guard. I know you got Tijon Lucas, but you need more than one. You need more than one point guard. And what I love is that Trent Frazier, if you can land him, and I think they got a great chance, guys. But if you land him, he complements Tijon Lucas so much. Tijon's a pass-first guy. He can get to the rim a little bit. But he's kind of that team leader, floor general, that old-school point guard. While Trent Frazier, I talked to somebody in Illinois, a bucket getter. And that's what John Gross has wanted at that position. Coming off those ball screens, attacking the hoop, shooting threes, depending on what they do. He's perfect fit for what John Gross wants in that offense. And they've done a great job recruiting him. They saw him when Florida had offered, but Florida took a point guard. Illinois jumped in there, and they've been prioritizing him from the get-go. So it's closing time for Illinois. And if they get Trent Frazier, I think he's the second most important player in this class. And I think DeMonte Williams can be great. He's a legacy. But Trent Frazier is exactly what Illinois wanted in a point guard. They've lacked for the last 3 or 4 years in the program.
Huge. Well, Jeremy, listen, earlier you mentioned Kendrick Foster and how he's really stepped up this year on training camp, and you like what you've seen. I actually had a chance to talk to him yesterday. When we come back, we're going to play that, so I'm glad you mentioned that. Listen, I want you to go home, grab Tiff, you guys head out, have some wings and some beer, and oh, wait, no, you've got a baby at home.
Our buddy Matt gave us like a bunch of pulled chicken that's got like Hooter sauce on it, so I can settle that and have a beer, right?
Yeah, you can still do that.
That works.
Heck yeah. Yeah, just sit there and then you just keep passing the baby around while the other person eats. That's how you figure out how to do that. I love it. Well, hey, listen, Jeremy.
This dad life isn't too bad.
Right. I think we all hype it up. We try to get you so scared that you're just like freaked out, and then all of a sudden a week into it, you're like, hey, this isn't horrible.
But he sleeps like 20 hours a day. He's not running around like your kids are.
Right. That's true. That does make a difference. Hey, you're going to be back on the airwaves tomorrow with us.
Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. I'm excited to get back.
Sweet. I know everybody is as well. Listen, Jeremy, we appreciate it. Be safe, and we'll talk to you tomorrow, my friend.
All right, see you, boys. Thanks for filming, Brian.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, Jeremy.
Good stuff. Follow Jeremy Werner on Twitter at @JWernerScout. All right, he mentioned Kendrick Foster. You and I talked, Brian, a little bit how Keyshawn Vaughn's the guy. Mm-hmm. We know that. But you can't just have one kid as your running back. So you look at a kid like Reggie Corbin and Kendrick Foster. And Kendrick was one of these that last year played in a couple of games. I like the way he ran downhill. Mm-hmm. It seemed like, he at least would get positive yards. And when I sat down to visit with him yesterday, I wasn't quite sure how he was going to be with regards to his role, but he's really excited about this running back crew, and he's really excited about his spot on this team. And I even asked him the question about his thoughts on transferring because he had a great answer to that. So when we come back, we'll play that interview with Kendrick Foster. It is the Tay and J Show.
From the coffee shop to the classroom to our many convenient locations in between, Busey offers solutions to simplify your financial life. Enjoy hassle-free banking with Busey's mobile app and deposit checks, transfer funds, and pay bills all on your schedule. Visit Busey.com or stop by one of our many convenient locations for solutions to your banking and wealth management needs. Busey, your dream, our promise. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Though, like other wireless providers say they will cut your bill in half, but who knows what kind of coverage you're going to get.
When you switch to Straight Talk Wireless, you get nationwide coverage on America's largest, most dependable 4G LTE networks and still save on your wireless bill every month.
You get the unlimited plan for just $45 a month. No contracts, no credit checks, no mystery fees.
And get this, with Straight Talk's Bring Your Own Phone plan, you can keep your phone, your number, and even your network when you switch.
Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, half the cost.
Hey, Golick, my favorite way to spend time during the summer is playing golf. What's yours?
Well, Greeny, it's obviously grilling out with the family.
I know how you love it. And now you can enjoy the outdoors and have a great-looking deck as well.
Well, tell me a little more about that.
Whether you want to bring out the beauty of new wood or cover up an old deck, Cabot Stain gets the job done well.
All right, I'm sold. By the way, how do you like your steaks?
Cabot's family of deck stains are available at your neighborhood Ace. Cabot, we've got you covered.
No matter matter what age. Braces can give you that beautiful smile you've been hoping for. If you have crooked teeth or a misaligned bite, West Main Dental in downtown Urbana has a variety of treatments that can help straighten your teeth, including braces, Invisalign, and retainers. And right now, West Main Dental is offering $500 off orthodontic services. That's right, $500 off. Call today for a free consultation to get that beautiful smile you deserve. Mention this ad to find out how you can save $500. Some restrictions apply. See office for details. The staff at West Main Dental is well-trained, and they're dedicated in making your orthodontic treatment a memorable and enjoyable experience. Let West Main Dental give you the smile that you deserve. West Main Dental in downtown Urbana, 607-1292, and online at westmaindental.com.
Hello, this is Shane Coulter of Country Arbors Nursery. Did you lose a tree over the winter? Do you live in a new home and the sun is beating down on your yard or house? Or maybe you've just been putting off year after year, coming up with an excuse why you haven't planted a tree. In any case, now is the time to let Country Arbors plant a tree for you. For a short time, Country Arbors is discounting the planting charge of all our trees. Why would you want to go through the work of hauling and planting a 10-foot tall, beautiful tree when Country Arbors will do all the work for just $100 and will guarantee our work for up to 5 years? So schedule your tree planting today. You can visit countryarbors.com for more information and directions.
Check out the new BMW of Champaign. It's not like the old Twin City. They have new on-site local ownership since 2013, along with a new state-of-the-art facility. With a Customer First Service Award winner for 2015, BMW of Champaign does business your way. Yes, they have tons of cars. Yes, they'll get you what you want. Yes, they discount, deal, and even pick up and deliver. So stop in, ask for Ben, and give BMW of Champaign a look. BMW of Champaign at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy.
We know how much you love your car. Protect your ride with AutoGuard from Pekin Insurance and your local independent agency. AutoGuard picks up where other policies fall short, offering trip interruption coverage, key replacement, tire protection, accidental airbag deployment coverage, and more. All for just $20 per year per vehicle. Call your local Pekin Insurance agent or visit www.pekininsurance.com to put their beyond the expected services to work for you with AutoGuard.
Hi, it's Corey with Max Twin City Recycling. We pride ourselves on giving the area an outlet to recycle and get paid for their unwanted metals. We're taking our community focus a step further with our Recycling for a Cause program. Each month, Max Twin City will choose a different local charity to feature in an effort to raise money for those causes. Visit maxrecycling.com for a complete list of program details.
Oh, yeah. Brian, are you tired of hearing this song yet?
Not yet.
I'm not either. I'm not either. This is definitely the song of summer. Old JT. Hey, it's the Tay and J Show. Lante, Brian Moline. Really appreciate you filling in today. It's been fun.
Yeah, having a blast.
And you sat the whole time. I don't know how you do that and don't yawn.
I've been yawning a little bit.
See, that's what happens when you got to stand when you do this. Although lately, the older I get, I'm like, yeah, I got to sit because my legs get a little tired.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm getting old. All right, we mentioned Kendrick Foster, a guy that had an unbelievable high school career. He's like an All-American, ran for like 6,000 plus yards in Peoria, I believe, Peoria Richwoods. Mm-hmm. Came to Illinois expecting to do some big things. Kind of got behind Josh Ferguson and some of those guys early, and then he thought, all right, it's my turn. But then Keyshawn Vaughn came along, and it kind of made him think, I might transfer from here, you know. And but luckily for Illinois, with the lack of depth at running back, he stuck around this year. And yesterday I had a chance to talk to the junior, I believe redshirt junior, on his upcoming season.
All right, Kendrick Foster, halfway through camp.
Yeah.
How are things going so far?
They're going great, actually. It's a grind, of course. A lot of mental reps and a lot of physical reps as well. Just the biggest thing is making sure my body's 100% every practice. Recovery's the biggest thing. But I can't complain. I'm doing great in camp so far. I'm doing what I believe I can do in my ability, and the hard work in all season's paying off.
You talk about an area, the running back area, that there's not a lot of depth. You know, you keep hearing that. But you've got, obviously, with Vaughn and you, Corbin. How are you guys kind of attacking that mentality? I mean, obviously, there's enough of you, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of the way you're looking at it?
Yeah. I think we're all going to be fine. We look at it as a three-headed monster in the backfield. We all bring something nice to the table with speed, agility, and vision and power. I believe we'll be fine. We'll be okay.
This offensive line, obviously with Lovey now stressing run, that's got to be music to your ears.
Yeah.
So how is that off? Well, tackle that first. Just when you hear Lovey saying, "Hey, we're going to be a run first team." I can see you smiling now.
It brings me back to the high school days. In high school, we ran between the tackles, and with this offense, we're running between the tackles, and that's my bread and butter.
Sweet.
And just with me, Keyshawn, and Reggie, just knowing that we're going to run the ball and then go play action off of it brings music to our ears. And the offensive line has done tremendously well. They improved so much from last year, and we're just so excited to what we can do this year.
Reggie, he's different than you a little bit, right? Is he more of that, if you'd call it a scat back kind of way, whereas you're just kind of north-south, right? Just get me between the tackle and let me roll.
Yeah.
Is Reggie kind of a little bit different, like if we were describing him for our listeners?
I would describe Reggie as a scat, more Josh Ferguson.
Okay.
He'll make you miss, for sure. He definitely, we call it sauce. So like when we're watching film and, not just him, but we all have sauce,
Exactly.
But Reggie does have a lot of sauce, I would say. So.
Well, and I would assume for a guy like him, that's what makes it pretty neat about with having, obviously with Keyshawn and then with you and Corbin. You're kind of the different kind of back to where the game could dictate who gets the most carries.
For sure. That definitely could depend on if it's 4th and 1, do you need a power back, or if it's 3rd and 12 or 3rd and 8, and you need somebody to make somebody miss, like the safety as well. But yeah, that's great about our backfield because everybody brings something to the table.
Kendrick Foster with me here, Tay and J Show. You were going to maybe explore leaving Illinois, right?
Yes,
kind of what went into that and what kind of changed for you?
It was more of I've been here and I waited my turn. Donovan Young, Josh Ferguson was in front of me, waited my turn, was patient. I was really close with Josh. He's my big brother. I still talk to him today. He's doing well for the Colts. Right. But it was more of I want to make an impact like I did in high school.
Sure.
Because I was an All-State 3 years in a row. I was an All-American. And I came here and I finally got a chance when people got hurt. And I showed what I could do, but it still wasn't enough for me. Okay. But right now I'm just focused on Murray State and focused on Cam because I'm excited for this new opportunity.
And my last question is that we're about 3 weeks away. It's hard to believe. You're going to have a big one with Murray State, and you're going to have a night game against Carolina that me as a fan, I can't wait for that one. And then, of course, the next one, and then we got Big Ten play after a week off. It's coming up quick. How exciting is that for you?
I'm 22 years old now. I got number 22, jersey number. I'm a redshirt junior. I can't be more excited. Awesome. I'm so blessed, and I'm so excited for this new opportunity. And this staff's done a tremendous job getting us prepared for Murray State. So we're ready to go, and we just got to keep stacking days.
Absolutely. Kendrick, thanks, buddy.
Thank you,
Great
sir.
job, man. Good luck this year.
Thank you.
Good luck with everything.
Exactly.
I assume what I said after that. That was Kendrick Foster. So, that's encouraging because that's a worry, Brian, when you've got Keyshawn Vaughn. That's not a worry.
No.
But if he gets hurt, although I said I'd never say that again, dang it. But when he needs a blow, you got to have somebody come in there, and you got a guy like Kendrick Foster that can get the hard yardage up the gut, and you've got a guy like Reggie Corbin that can kind of be that scat back kind of guy. That'll be interesting. That'll be something for me to watch on Saturdays as well.
Yeah, I think so, and we'll see how Kendrick does. It sounds like he's slimmed up, down a little bit. Maybe a little more explosiveness, a little more quickness, which is good. Maybe make those sharp cuts.
Agree.
On those up the middle runs. And Kendrick mentioned number 22, and I wanted to mention this before we say goodbye here. That I saw a tweet from Martez Wilson, former Illini, and caught me off guard. I had not seen this. Apparently, this started coming out last night. But rest in peace, he says, to my former college teammate Daniel Dufresne.
Wow.
And I don't know any details about Daniel's passing, but Martin O'Donnell tweeted out something about it last night and said this. Football is merely a filter through which the public gets to know guys. Daniel was a great guy, great teammates.
Awesome.
Illini fans will remember Daniel Dufresne had a very good game for Illinois against Ohio State when Ohio State was number 1 in the country. I believe it was an 80-yard touchdown run that Daniel had in that ball game against the Buckeyes in the Big House when Illinois knocked off number 1. So rest in peace to Daniel Dufresne, gone much too soon.
Well said on that, and it is true because a lot of times you root for these kids. You hope you root for them, Not only on the field, on the courts, whatever. You just hope that they get their grades, they go on and achieve things in life. But when you hear something like that, somebody way too young, that's very, very unfortunate. Want to thank our guest today, Craig Choate, WCIA 3 Sports, came in for an hour. I kept him here an hour, so I appreciate that to Craig. Also, Jeremy Warner, who will be back on the show tomorrow, so it'll be good to get Jeremy back on the show. But Brian Moline, this was fantastic. When I was talking to Jeremy about a contingent plan for when he had his baby and Carp being gone, I'm like, what do you think? And he's like, I think you ought to call Brian. And immediately I'm like, that's great. So I'm glad you were able to fill in today.
Yeah, I had a blast.
That's awesome. Appreciate it. Where can we hear you?
WYLL, AM 580, FM 90.9, weekday morning 6 until 9.
6 till 9. What time do you get up in the morning?
I get up at 4.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's getting close to bedtime.
I was going to say, you better get out of here and go home and go to bed. 4 a.m. Yikes. Brian Moline, this was fantastic. Good luck to your Cubbies, my friend.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
And I'm hoping in the future, maybe we'll get you on again. That'd be I know a lot of our listeners loved it. We were getting texts all day on the Cheap Hour text line about having you back. So hopefully we'll be able to get you back in here one day.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lon.
We're out of here. Jeremy's back tomorrow. It is the Tay and J Show.
It seems like in every home, there's at least one room that's either too hot or too cold. Well, it doesn't have to be that way. Mitsubishi Electric has your comfort solution. Mitsubishi Electric cooling and heating systems are up to 40% more efficient with no ductwork and whisper quiet. Individual room control, giving you the freedom to find your perfect comfort level and save money too. Make your whole home comfortable again. See Lance Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing for your comfort solution and live better.
Hi, I'm Troy Lands from Lands Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Lands is your local Mitsubishi Electric Diamond dealer. Our technicians are experts at solving your comfort needs, one room or your whole house. Let us show you how a Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Cooling System can save you money now. Your comfort is our priority. Call Lands today at 1-800-AIR-REPAIR or find us online at landsinc.com. I'm Troy Lands, and you can count on my company because you can count on me.
Christopher & Company in downtown Champaign is celebrating their anniversary by sending you to see Billy Joel. Register to win tickets at Christopher & Company in downtown Champaign at 124 North Neal Street. That's right, Christopher & Company in downtown Champaign is sending you to see Billy Joel. It's Christopher & Company in downtown Champaign's anniversary. Stop by 124 North Neal Street today and browse their line of custom jewelry pieces. And get registered to see Billy Joel at Christopher & Company. Do you live in Urbana? Visit the Sprint store on the corner of Philo and Florida for your new device, and they'll transfer all your precious photos, contacts, and other important data from your old one. Also, stop by and see them in North Champaign at the Center Court and Marketplace Mall. Let Sprint by Wireless Revolution set up your new phone or tablet while you take the kids to the play area or get your shopping done. If you're on North Prospect, visit the only Sprint mobile device center in town, located next to Starbucks. Let Sprint by Wireless Revolution find your perfect new phone or fix your old one. Sprint by Wireless Revolution, local, convenient, and serving our community since 2011.
Live from the Habib BPC studios, this is WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis